tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer and with me it is the former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
There's an array of sport across the talkSPORT network today. The best in the world go head-to-head at the MetLife Stadium tonight as Chelsea take on PSG in the Club World Cup final. Captain Reece James is aware of the challenge a final against the French champions might bring.
This game is a super high-level game, They are, one of the hottest teams in the world at the moment. But, this is a final. This is a one-off game. Everyone has them down as strong favourites. But, I've been in many finals before where we've been favourites. And, we haven't come out on top.
More on that to come. Plus, there's a home nations derby in St Gallen as England take on Wales in their final group stage fixtures. Lionesses winger Lauren Hemp emphasised the importance of winning back-to-back games.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough match. Obviously, we've got so much respect for Wales. They've done really well in the competition so far. But we're very desperate to win and we know what it's going to take to win. And we've reviewed the last game, we've looked at the game going forward, and I think we're just going to play to our strengths and do what we do. You never know what you're going to get from this England team, but I tell you what you will get is a lot of fight and a lot of character, and we're going to try our absolute best to win.
Well, despite not winning a game in this tournament so far, the Wales head coach Rhian Wilkinson knows the team are out for an upset.
England is a top team. We know that. They've got some fantastic players that I've coached, and I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm looking forward to putting these incredible women out against them. The pressure is all on them. We know that. We know there's still a chance for us. We're aware of it, and when there's a chance, there's always an exciting element that we get to go towards and not be frightened of, because what do we have to fear? It's just an exciting opportunity.
And we'll run you through all the permutations throughout the show. But England basically know a win will see them through to the knockout stages. But we're going to start the show, Cass, by talking about the Club World Cup. 32 teams entered the inaugural tournament. And it all comes down to this, where only one can win.
A brand new and improved Club World Cup has arrived, and it's stateside.
Honestly, it's been anything and everything, being able to watch the tournament, being able to watch some of the stars.
Vitinha right through the middle, tucks it into the corner. What a brilliant counter-attacking goal. That's why they're the best team in football at the moment.
The whole thing could be falling flat, and it could be deemed a mistake were it not for the South American fans and the South American players.
And now an opportunity, Hercules again! The substitute does the damage, and Fluminense are back in front!
It's had its moments, right? Like, it's definitely not a preseason turn.
And stop the world! Manchester City once again off! They are out of the Club World Cup!
Even for a team like Real Madrid. But I think it's the fact that they had such a poor season that if they win this, they can go and say, yeah, but we still won a trophy.
So much support inside the area. Ruiz makes it 3-0 with a brilliant goal. Real Madrid do not know what has hit them here.
So there is no denying that Chelsea have had an easier path to the semi-finals. You can only beat who's put in front of them.
João Pedro with his second against his boyhood club.
It's really good for him because now he went to top club, and João Pedro can play on 9, he can play at 10, he can play also as a winger.
And now Paris Saint-Germain will face Chelsea in Sunday's final. What a game that should be.
Yes, so it is Chelsea that take on PSG in this final, and it's an intriguing one, really, especially when you consider how great 2025 has been for Luis Enrique's side. Before we get your thoughts on it, and we will talk plenty more about this final throughout. We're with you until 10, by the way. The FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, has been talking about this competition and how he believes it is now the most successful club competition in the world. That despite some of the negatives that have been said about this tournament.
Well, I can say that we generated over 2 billion, almost 2.1 billion revenues with this competition. For 63 matches, that makes an average of $33 million per match. There is no other club competition in the world today that comes anywhere close to a value of $33 million per match. So it is already the most successful club competition in the world from all different measurements.
He just summed it up there, didn't he? It's all about the moolah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the figures that he has said there, Cass, is quite astronomical. 2.1 billion it is made, and as he said there, that basically means 33 million has been made per match.
Yeah.
Quite, like I say, astronomical figures that we're talking about. But in terms of...
Well, I'm not...
Go on.
Can I jump in on this?
Yeah, of course.
I do feel it's a little bit exaggerated. Now, well, he also quoted in saying that they'd got 20 billion viewers, as in, and that's via Instagram and other hits.
Right, I see, okay.
Considering there's 8 billion people on the planet, and not everybody is watching the Club World Cup, I just think that's a slightly exaggerated number.
Yeah.
And what made me laugh is because behind him is a load of ex-players, and they're all promoting the World Cup. Well, they're all promoting the World Cup, or Club World Cup, because they would have had all their flights and travel, hotels, and they would have probably been paid. They would have been working for sponsors. So,
we'd have been standing there.
And I get it. I mean, if I was there, I'd be saying, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's the best competition the world ever had.
Yeah.
It's a trial. And I say that it's probably just about got away with being a success. I think the success is that we've had different styles of football. We've had certainly the South American impact. We've had, the Middle East, a team come in and do well. The final is a great final, in my opinion. You're seeing PSG, who are the best team on the planet at the moment. I don't think there's much debate about that. Taking on Chelsea, with both the models are quite similar. As in, they're trying to produce younger teams with a lot of energy, and obviously Chelsea's game plan was to get to this position of being a far more bigger and successful club. Bearing in mind that last year they made Champions League football, so there are some successes in this story, but it's been grossly exaggerated. in my opinion.
Well, of course, to fit the narrative that he wants, as we all know. I mean, what's interesting about this particular final is that, and I didn't realise this, do you know this is the first major international final in men's football between a team from England and a team from France?
No, I had no idea.
You would have thought by now.
Yes.
They would have faced each other. Some teams would have faced each other, but that's not the case at all. Interesting, I was reading an article in one of the papers this morning. Mark Cucurella has been speaking, obviously, about it all and saying that after this, he's obviously going to have a little bit of a break. I think he gets 3 weeks off, he was saying, and he's going to do a lot of family stuff because of wanting to spend time with his family because of the Nations League final. And now this, he's just not had enough time to spend with them. How disruptive do you think this is all going to be for Chelsea going into a new season, or what they've done in America kind of enough as a pre-season?
Yeah, well, that doesn't, and the season's slightly later this year, isn't it, as well, because of the Club World Cup. I think that they're starting the 17th, 16th, 17th.
Yeah, that's what
is the start. So normally they'd start the week before. So I don't think it will inconvenience them as much.
Right.
And players will need a break. And you might see some of the players not starting the only weekend fixtures.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that might happen. But I mean, there's so much backstories to this game in particular. Because I'm reading the papers this morning about how Chelsea can stop the rise of Europe's finest, and it's all about PSG.
Yeah.
And what struck out for me is that so many of people are going down the road of Chelsea mustn't have as much possession. Right, because to be successful, because the two teams that beat them were Villa, who had 35% possession, and Liverpool had 30% when they went to Paris and win. And I'm thinking, this is where it's misleading, because one of the main reasons why Liverpool won is because of Alisson and the amount of saves he made. It wasn't about not having possession. Of course you have to match PSG. You have to try and match them in their energy, because what they've got is abundance of energy all over the pitch and the forward lines. If you want, one great thing for Chelsea is, and that Colwell has been speaking about this, is that they watched the Real Madrid team. Now, Real Madrid had Vinicius Jr. not working back, not tracking back, and you had Mbappe not doing that. So, really, Real Madrid were playing with 9 men when they didn't have the ball against 11.
Yeah.
And that's Chelsea will have 11 against 11. So they will not attempt to play the way that Real Madrid did, because Real Madrid were embarrassing. That a club of that stature, and not to have the effort from everybody on the pitch as a Galactico club. I found them, you got exactly what you deserved, because they were second best in the energy, work rate and desire to win.
And you imagine Luis Enrique's watching on thinking, and that's why Mbappe, I didn't want you at PSG anymore, essentially. Because we've seen the video clips of that conversation he had, a one-on-one conversation with Mbappe, where he was basically saying, to be the star of our team, I need you to do more.
Exactly.
We want you to score goals, but I do need you to do more. And we know that really isn't Mbappe's game.
Well, his goal record speaks for itself.
Yeah,
it's a goal a game, and we all go, well, you carry a player and he wins us games. But if you're ultimately talking about the smallest margins in the highest levels, that they have a massive impact on the outcome.
Yeah.
And the outcome for Real Madrid is, and I said to you a few weeks back, on talkSPORT, we were chatting, I said, Real Madrid ain't as good as what everybody thinks they are. They're nowhere near the Real Madrid of the past. They're not even close to me, because Mbappe's a fabulous talent. But if you could get Mbappe to work his socks off and defend for the team and still have the same amount of energy and desire when you're attacking, you've got the world's best player.
Yeah.
He's close to that, but he's not doing the fundamental things for his team.
This is a game, obviously, we'll talk plenty more about throughout the show, because it's going to be live for you here on talkSPORT, kicking off at 8. You've got Nigel Adderley and the former England striker Dean Ashton's your commentary team, and Adrian Durham doing a bit of double work here, because he'll be helping to present this one as well as the England-Wales game at the Euros, which you'll be able to tune into talkSPORT 2 at the same time. But as I say, we'll be looking ahead to both those games throughout the show and be joined by various guests too. On the way next, though, we are going to talk cricket, because once more, this third test between England and India is finally poised at Lord's.
plays that villain role very well now. After crying out for a little bit more attention, it comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally, and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I promise you it's not Classic FM. It's very much talkSPORT. This is the former Aston Villa striker Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer, and we're with you until 10. And here's one for you from the papers, Cass.
Go on.
With a headline of phony Brits go all posh. A survey has showed that 4 out of 5 people put on a phone voice to appear more classy while chatting on the phone, in a similar fashion to our very beloved Hyacinth Bouquet, if you remember from Keeping Up Appearances. Doctors and receptionists are the most likely to hear our phone voices, whilst friends and family are the most unlikely to hear the same. So, Mr. Anthony Cascarino.
Anthony Guy?
Well, okay, if we're doing full names, yeah, Anthony Guy Cascarino, the original Tony and Guy. Would you have a phone voice, do you think?
Not really, no.
No?
No. I'm not very good putting on voices.
No.
You listen to me sing enough, so my voice isn't particularly great. So,
that wouldn't say that.
I try and be polite, but sometimes when you get calls that are people that are clearly just trying to get your attention for buying something, I then get frustrated and just, you know, a little bit of the South London Cascarino comes out sometimes.
Right. A Millwall Cass comes out.
No, it was not a Millwall Cass. It's
just saying the way you said it. Well, yeah, okay.
That's way more hardcore than Millwall Cass.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be, hello, this is Mr. Cascarino.
It depends what mood I'm in. I might say, hello, yeah, what do you want?
Oh.
I could be rude as well.
Oh.
If I suspect some sort of scam coming on me, obviously you see it because it comes up on your phone, doesn't it? A suspected scam. But I tend to. I tell you, it depends what mood I'm in. I'll try and be polite on a general basis. I think that's just great. You know, principles and morals of life, isn't it? I mean, you could do a posh voice because you've already got one.
It's not. It's just West London. That's all.
Yes, but
there was a time I remember when I was quite young, and when my dad's mother, so as I knew her, my nanny was still alive. She rang our family home once, and I answered it and was like, "Hello." I was very young. She put the phone down because she was like, "I found the wrong number," and then she rang again, and I was like, "Hello." And again, she put it down, and it took a couple of times for her to realise, I think that is my granddaughter. And then she's like, is that you? And I'm like, hello. And I was just taking the mickey, obviously. But I definitely do have a phone voice, without a doubt. I've been called out on it many times by friends. Oh, yeah. Friends and even my son will be like, why are you speaking like that? Yeah. Just can't help it. It's weird, isn't it? The dynamics, you know. And again, it's.
But if you're in a certain mood on a day, you do react differently to picking up the phone. There's no way you're just, the same every day.
No, exactly. And it's also that thing where we're all sometimes guilty of going to a foreign country and you start putting on a weird accent, even though you're speaking in English. And like as we saw Steve McLaren doing it famously, Joey Barton likewise. So, yeah, I kind of get why people do it for sure. Quickly, let's wrap up what's happened so far at Lord's, shall we, with England's tireless efforts finally rewarded to leave a tetchy third test against India hanging in the balance after day 3. In sweltering conditions, England took the last 4 wickets for 11 runs to dismiss the tourists for 387, meaning the scores were level after both first innings. Time wasting has been a real talking point in this one. Yesterday, the former England bowler Steve Harmison discussed Zach Crawley's efforts to waste away the final over against Jasprit Bumrah and the ensuing fallout on the field from Shubman Gill.
I think Ben Duckett came down and Shubman Gill trying to be sarcastic, going over towards Zach Crawley, giving him the spray, and Ben Duckett's not charged down, but he's eased down from the non-striker's end and gone straight into Shubman Gill's face. Pointed to about a foot away from Ben Duckett was, and basically saying, mate, you were lying on the floor here when the physio came out, so you can go and pipe down and do one. So, yeah, I'm fully with Ben Duckett on that one. India have been playing games. India have looked at, trying to waste time so many times in this series. And I think England have just had enough, and they're playing them at their own game here. 1 ball to go.
It's all kind of mind games in this one, it feels, with this, slightly slower over rates and all sorts of, as we saw there, the tactics of a last over to slow things down.
Well, what got me was that and then the papers put it in ball 1, ball 2, ball 3 and everything. But, from the openers when they, were coming down from the stands and as they're coming down the stairs, they're taking an eternity to get to the crease. And, I mean, that just starts before, before ball 1. But then you get to ball 3 when, obviously, Zach Crawley, he then, last moment as the bowler approaches, he puts his hand up to sort of say, no, there's movement behind them.
Yeah, of course. That's what happens.
This is what happens in sport. Mm-hmm. And it's right to, Army to call out, that India have been guilty of this as well. But the time they get to ball 6, they've achieved what they wanted to do, is not to lose a wicket and start again today. Mm-hmm. See through that final over. If you're looking at the time and the clock, it's literally ball 5 was 6:29.
Yeah, you've got a few minutes to go,
exactly.
Essentially, yeah.
So there isn't too much wrong with it. And look, what you're seeing is huge respect from both camps, as in they know they're in a test match, that sort of environment where there ain't a lot to choose between them. It's been really close. Both of them are scoring lots of runs, so what do you expect? There's going to be a slight margin. We talk about small margins all the time, and both teams are trying to get the edge on this one. Excuse the pun.
Very much so. You're quite right. I mean, Michael Vaughan has said that last over in particular was as good a time wasting he's ever seen.
It's probably the best time wasting you've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, ultimately it was making sure they didn't lose a wicket. Yeah. They've only put 2 runs on the board, so that's only given them a couple of runs lead in this test match so far, with a couple of days still to come. But it just makes it all the more intriguing.
Yes, and the Indian team are doing what they should be doing, trying to intimidate England to make a mistake, and they haven't. So this is high-level sport. It's not going to be all friendly. It's on the edge, and that's exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah. You'll be able to hear updates from Sam Ellard on day 4 of this third test throughout when play gets underway from 11. Let's just quickly turn our attentions to what happened at Wimbledon yesterday.
Ooh.
Now, I had a nap. I fell asleep, woke up at about just before 4:30 actually, and I thought, I'll put the Wimbledon tennis on. Oh my goodness. I have never felt so heartbroken for somebody seeing Amanda Anisimova going through what she was going through. Remember, her first ever major final, taking on Iga Swiatek, a former world number 1, the Queen of Clay, who had never got to a Wimbledon final before. And she was incredible how she was dominant, ruthless, and ended up winning that Wimbledon ladies final 6-love. 6-love. I can't imagine how Anisimova must have felt. I mean, she was very emotional, lots of tears, as you can expect. And afterwards, she spoke about how she actually needs to work on her fitness because she felt just really tired going into that final. Even the warm-up in the morning, she said, I was so tired, and I now know that I need to work on my fatigue and everything like that to ensure I can last 2 weeks at a tournament.
It is an endurance test.
Yeah.
It is. You play a lot of tennis.
Yeah.
And obviously the conditions weren't helpful, and okay, it's the same for both players, but if she felt she weren't on her absolute peak condition, then at least fair play to her to come back out, because there was a period, wasn't there, where you just waited where she goes back to inside dressing room and locker rooms and comes back out, and she's gathered herself together, and she'll, as the days go past, she'll learn a hell of a lot from what's happened at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
And take a lot of pride out of making the final because, yes, you've lost it in horrendous ways. I mean, I haven't looked, but I'm sure the papers are telling this is the last time that this has happened since
Well, it's over 100 years since that's happened at Wimbledon. But the last time it's happened in a women's final, 88, Steffi Graf did exactly the same to Natasha Zverev. But this final took, I think, just under an hour, whereas that Steffi Graf one, 32 minutes.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, that's an annihilation.
40 love game.
I mean, yeah. It just, you're absolutely right. In a way, Anisimova has to look at this and think the positives. Never been to a major final. Incredible 2 weeks she's had in that sense at Wimbledon. You have to remember last year she didn't even get through qualifying. She even had to take a break from tennis for a period of time to work on her own mental health, for example. So she's accomplished so much to come back into the game to get to a final.
Yeah.
It's just that on the, I'm going to say the heat of the moment as such, and it was so ridiculously hot. Unfortunately, she just came up against someone that just had a masterclass as well, and knew how to just, with everything, with her own service games, how to attack Anisimova. And then even in receiving serves, she was just incredible at the baseline. Every return was just winnable. It was ridiculous. We'll have more on that because Barry Cowan, the former British tennis player, will join us later on to talk about that, but also look ahead to what's to come today with the men's final as Carlos Alcaraz takes on Yannick Sinner. But I suppose the question is, when you're heading into a final, have you ever been on the receiving end of a proper thrashing in sport? Have you? Can you think of a thrashing that you've...
Last game in England.
Go on.
Manchester United 4, Chelsea 0 in the FA Cup final. That was my last game in England.
Yes. So, a similar sort of thing. It's a final, you know.
Yeah, and we did a bus parade the next day on Fulham Broadway, and there was thousands of Chelsea fans there, and it felt really weird.
What was the bus parade for?
Well, getting to the cup final. We still went ahead with it because it was pre-planned.
Oh, right.
We were going to do an open-top bus.
Okay.
You know, and, you hope you win.
Yeah.
It felt very awkward on the day, but thousands of Chelsea fans turned up, and it actually was a really nice day. And we'd lost 4-0 on the Saturday, Saturday was, and it's a hard one to take because we beat them home and away that year in the league.
Yeah,
we won at Stamford Bridge and won at Old Trafford, so we really felt that we could go there and get a result, and we didn't. We got beat 4-0, and Eric Cantona decided to be Eric Cantona at his very best and got a brace, and it just happens.
Well, that is what we're talking about this morning then. We want your stories of the most one-sided wins you've ever been a part of, or perhaps you've witnessed. Maybe you were on the receiving end, or maybe you dished it out. 81089 is the text number. You can also WhatsApp us on 03717 223344, where you can leave us a voice note.
And I also played for my school, St Joseph's in Orpington, and we lost 6-1 to Swanley in a final. 6-1. Yeah, I did get the one.
I'm trying to remember
the other players.
I'm trying to remember the story that Jim White has told me a few times, and I've totally forgot, when he played cricket and his team were out for something.
About 14.
Honestly, it was a terrible low score.
We've all been there, Nat.
I know. I can imagine it. Yeah. Certainly so. But do let us know. Share some stories. Bring us the funnier side of those one-sided victories, whether you've been on the receiving end or you've dished it out. Okay, on the way next, we're going to turn our attentions to Formula E, where we were all hoping we would be celebrating a British champion today, but that's not quite the case. Could still happen. We'll bring you details on it next. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Weekend Sports Breakfast this Sunday morning. We're live on your radio, YouTube and smart TV. It is a man who has the freedom of the French town of Nancy, Tony Cascarino, who is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer. And this morning we are asking for you to get involved and tell us your stories of the most one-sided victories you've been either on the receiving end of or you've dished out following what happened at Wimbledon, as unfortunately the American Amanda Anisimova was on the end of a 6-love defeat in the Wimbledon ladies final. And we've had a couple of messages already.
Yeah.
George has said, my son's team won 8-3 in a cup final. That's a heavy defeat. And Bradders, or Big Bazzer I should say, has said from Buxton, Crown Green Bowling, played my daughter's friend's granddad last week and he beat me 21-1. Absolutely whitewashed. That does sound like quite a thrashing. Not that I really know all about Crown Green Bowling, but right. I hear that that's clearly not good. So that's what we want to hear from you this morning. Your stories of those thrashings that you've either received or given out. 81089 is the text number. You can also WhatsApp us on 03717 223344. You can also leave us a voice note there on WhatsApp, and you can really go into detail on the stories that we want to hear this morning.
On Friday, I beat my son 7-2 at pool. And he was 2-0 up. And I said, once I get my eye in, I'm going to whip you.
Again?
No, not Rocco. Not that one. Not the 9-year-old. No,
I know.
My 32-year-old. I beat him at pool.
Oh, I bet you love that.
He's 2-0 up. And I said to him, if I get my eye in, I'm going to beat you. I ended up winning 7-2.
If I get my eye
So I messaged my other son and said, ask Ted how he got on at pool. Message him. Ask Ted how he got on.
That's heartbreaking. 2-0 up, like you say. You think, I'm coasting here, I'm doing all right. And then you come back and win the next 7. That's brutal. Let us know this morning. Share your stories. We'd love to hear from you today here on talkSPORT. Now, Britain's hopes of a new motorsport world champion has to wait after Oliver Rowland had to retire in the first of a weekend double header of the Formula E series in Berlin. That was yesterday. An incident with 6 laps to go meant the British driver was forced to abandon the race for his first retirement of this season. And with just a few races to go in the calendar, what does he need to do today in Germany if he can seal the title? Joining us now is Formula E pit lane reporter Saunders Carmichael Brown. How are you, Saunders?
Morning, guys. Yeah, very good, thank you. Thanks, pleasure to be on. You both well?
Yeah, what a fabulous name, Saunders. I've got to be honest.
Oh, I can't take any credit for that. You got to talk to my parents.
Well, yeah. Well, we've had you on before, Saunders, so we're not surprised at all by it. But anyway, let's get straight to the story of Oliver Rowland, because we had John Jackson on yesterday, who you know very well, talking all about what's going to happen and how we're hopeful that this weekend we'll see a British motorsport champion. Didn't quite go to plan yesterday. So what needs to happen today?
Well, I'll try and keep it simple. Essentially, Oliver Rowland needs to score 8 more points than Pascal Wehrlein, the Porsche driver, today to win the championship. So effectively, that means finishing somewhere around 5th or 6th, with Pascal obviously not doing that well at the same time. So it's not completely in his hands, but based on the performance that we've seen from him this season, now this guy's got 7 podiums, 4 of them being race wins, all the others being second places. So he's just been on a performance level that we haven't really seen in Formula E before. So yesterday was an absolutely huge shock that none of us were expecting. He hasn't had a DNF, his first one all season. So, it caught us all by surprise, and he's left himself a little bit more of a job to do today. But I'd say it is still majority in his hands.
So, Saunders, most of the time we look at motor racing, always conditions play a part. Is that going to be the case today?
Well, I don't know how to explain it. We went 5 seasons with no wet races in Formula E. The first 5 seasons, there wasn't a single wet race. We've had 5 this season. And yesterday was one of them. We always obviously looking at the weather radar and trying to track what's going on, but it is a very difficult championship to drive in. Every driver on the grid talks about it being the hardest form of motorsport that they've ever driven in, just because of all the technical side of it. It's a real mental game as well. There's lots you're having to do behind the wheel at the same time. It has to unlock different characteristics of driver that you don't really have to unlock in other championships. So then you add rain to the mix, and it makes it even harder with the grip on these street circuits. It's not traditional tarmac like you get at a permanent race circuit. Everything's a little bit more harder, and we had that yesterday with another wet race. Although it wasn't downpour during the race. Pretty much up to the race, the conditions were very wet.
So is that what happened with Oliver Rowland and that incident?
I wouldn't want to say that was because of the race. I would say the conditions were tricky, and then he got himself into a position where he used this bit of strategy that we call attack mode. It's essentially unlocking an additional bit of power for a set limit of time. What you have to do to activate it, though, is drive off the racing line. So if you're in a tight pack, it's really easy to lose positions. So he did that towards the end of the race, then thinking, well, I've got the extra power now, so I'm going to use that to make those positions back and climb up the order. And I think he'll hold his hands up and say the same thing here. He just pushed a little bit too hard. And he had a bit of a spin trying to make a move on the inside into one of the hairpins. And yeah, it was one of those things where he was a sitting duck facing the wrong way in the track, and he has to allow for all the people to come past him before he can turn around. And in Formula E, there is very, very seldomly more than half a second between cars. So in a chain of 22 cars, so it's you have to wait a while.
Wow.
So, Saunders, tell us about, because after Berlin we got the final 2 rounds in London. So is that a unique event?
It is. You know, honestly, there's nothing else in motorsport like it. It was the first ever single-seater motorsport to have both indoor and outdoor within one circuit.
Oh,
it's a phenomenally organised event at the XL Centre in London, and basically the start-finish straight, the pit lane, and a couple of corners are inside one whole half of the convention centre. And then you come out down the ramp and you use all the roads around the outside of the XL, and then back in on the other side. And then so you're on one side inside the XL, it's like music blaring, you get music artists playing at the starting grid, lights and everything, and then you go outside and it's like, you know, fast, frenetic, close racing like you see in Formula E, and they come back in for the fans waiting in the grandstand again. What's been really interesting in the past few years is it's even though it's been in July, it's been raining, so they've had half a wet circuit, half a dry circuit.
Right.
Oh, it's bizarre.
Sounds bonkers.
It does sound, but it sounds great at the same time, I have to say.
No, it's a spectacle. It's great fun. It's great fun.
So for those that might not have been keeping right across everything in Formula E, we've mentioned Oliver Rowland and how we're hopeful that he'll come away with the championship, but who else has sort of stood out, or maybe who's disappointed?
Well, the championship side of things, it's pretty much a 3/4 horse race, although, you know, not to get too deep, but mathematically there's still quite a few people that could technically go and do it if all went wrong for everyone else ahead of them. But you've got Oliver Rowland, championship leader, then you've got the 2 Porsche drivers and another young McLaren driver, British driver called Taylor Barnard, who actually just moved one ahead yesterday to be into the top 3. So it's pretty tight-ish between second, third and fourth. So they're probably the main protagonists that put the challenge on Rowland. But then that's in the Drivers' Championship. You look in the Teams' Championship, and it's much closer. And then the Manufacturers' Trophy, and that being the likes of, you know, Nissan, Jaguar, Stellantis, all these kind of big names in the automotive world, it's even tighter. So even if Oliver does wrap it up today in the Drivers' Championship, it's definitely going to be going to the wire in London and the other 2.
We saved the best to last because we've heard that yesterday you got a pie in your face on a TV broadcast. What was that one about?
Come on, Saunders, you can't get away with not talking about it.
No, it's all good. I'll take it like a sport. So we do a thing at the start of the grid procedure on the ITV X show, the ITV4 show, which is our predictions. And, you know, you all have a go at who you think is going to do well in the race, and the driver that effectively does worse in the race has a punishment.
Oh.
Now, you ask me, Oliver Rowland's a pretty safe bet. He's done pretty well this season. He's not had any DNFs. He's starting third on the grid. I'm going to go with Oliver Rowland. He unfortunately does have his first DNF of the season, and it was in combination with any NFL fans listening. The Indianapolis Colts famous mascot, Blue, is a big giant horse, acts all crazy. He's been with us today to kind of collaborate with one of the Andretti teams who are from Indianapolis while the NFL was in Berlin. And one of the things he does is he pies people, and I was unfortunately the recipient of that. But you know what, guys? It gets one bit worse because they didn't tell me it wasn't pie; it was shaving cream, and I ate it.
Oh no! Oh no! That's not great. And it wasn't raining either, was it, at the time? Because then it's like really horrible down your face. Oh no!
Yeah, it was exactly.
Lovely.
Yeah, it took probably the best part of an hour to sort myself out after that.
God, you ate it as well. Oh, Saunders, I'm sorry. Hopefully, could you be pied again today? Is that a possibility?
I'm hoping that if they do the prediction game today, I'll have a better go, or it'll be a different forfeit.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
Well, we wish you the best of luck for the predictions at least. So, Saunders, thank you for being with us today.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Cheers, guys.
We're going to bring you updates from that second race of the weekend in Berlin from 3 o'clock this afternoon. That during our Scottish Golf Open coverage. And you can also watch the race live on ITVX. Speaking of the Scottish Cup Open, we're going to cast our eye as we head into the final round of the day later today and see how players are shaping up ahead of the Open next weekend. Good morning, this is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. The Crockenhill legend striker that is Tony Cascarino is with me, Natalie Sawyer, and we're with you until 10. Here are some of your headlines today. Iga Swiatek ruthlessly took advantage even of Amanda Anisimova's nerves to win her maiden Wimbledon title and inflict the heaviest women's final defeat at the All England club in more than a century after a 6-love win. Rory McIlroy says he's now close to his Masters winning form after putting himself in prime position for another Scottish Open title with an imposing third round 66 to share the lead. And how about this? This is some story. The former Newcastle and Liverpool striker Andy Carroll has joined the 6th tier Dagenham and Redbridge on a free transfer.
In the Premier League. The space he's gone all the way. Another chance. Of something that could change the dynamic with a goal around. Now Carroll. Going to make it save. Gerrard, it's Carroll. What a goal by the England striker. That's why he was brought in and he's done the job. Come on, you buggers.
For those that might have not been watching, there was quite an elaborate video there where they first of all spoke about a new investment, a new kit, and now a new striker as well. Having left Bordeaux last month, he returns to England then to play in the National League South.
Yeah.
And he is part of this investment group as well. It's a Qatari-based consortium, but he is a shareholder as well.
Yeah. And at 7:15, it's going to be my little paper review.
Yes,
and a little bit
then.
of a... look, love Andy Carroll. I know I had a similar game style to him. You know, loved the balls in the air, attacking them, and he done that brilliantly. So we'll have a little bit of a chat about Andy Carroll, his moves, and Dagenham as a football club, because it's a very interesting football club.
Okay.
The Daggers.
So that's from 7:15 in our paper review. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Don't forget also, we want you to get in touch with your stories with regards to sort of massive defeats that you've been on the end of after what happened at the Wimbledon final yesterday. You can text us to 81089. You can also leave us a voice note on 03717 223344. That's on WhatsApp, where you can send us a message too. This is from Steve-O from Luton, who sent us a text. He says, a long time ago this happened, but when at school we turned up to Lee Manor High School after one win and a draw against other teams. Okay, so going in probably confident. There was a blizzard outside. He says the team were already on the pitch. They all had beards, while the most of us could manage was a fuzzy lip. Okay. Goes to show you the maturity of the two sides already. A motorbike, he says, had been rallying around in my goal area, and so, as a result, it had frozen like concrete. I was the keeper. We lost 18-0 with 3 own goals. Over 35 years later, it still hurts.
Oh, dear.
18-0.
Things do sit really deep with you at times, don't they? You know, as a kid, that would have been a horrific experience, as in, you know, humiliation on a day that stayed with you all them years. And look, now you look back, you have to laugh and have a real smile about the lads you were with in the team, the type of things that happened on the day. But yeah, 18-0 was a pretty harsh one to take.
I mean, I don't know at what point in that game do you just go, we give up? I mean, at what point? No, but you know what I mean? At what point in the scoreline is it just like, this is impossible? Is it 3, 4, 5? What point does it...
I agree to a certain extent. You can't wait to the game to end.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember being in an international with Republic of Ireland. We got beat 3-0 in Portugal, and they absolutely tore us apart. Yeah. And it was Figo. Figo was in the team at the time. I mean, one of the best players of the world, if not the best player at that particular time. But I remember coming off and thinking, they could have beat us, 5-6. They were that good. We had a really good side as well. But they just tore us apart on a particular day, you know?
I know what you mean when you say you can't give up, but you do sometimes wonder, like with that Wimbledon final yesterday, and I was watching that first set, and you just sort of, there was a part of me that thought, I wonder at what point in Anna Samova's mind is she thinking, right, this set is gone. This set is gone. I will need to go again in the second. And I know it didn't happen. I know it didn't go to plan, but I just sort of wonder the mentality of it. At what point you sort of think, I've got to move this set, I can't win this set, I've got to forget about it and try and hopefully refocus for the second.
Yeah, see, the hardest thing I found in sport is to say, like, if you got a chance and you missed it as a centre forward, and then you got another chance and you missed it, and then you got the third one, you're already thinking about missing it as it comes to you.
Yeah.
That's the mind games that you have to deal with. She's in a period where she's been beaten 6-love in the first, and gets into the second, then she goes one game down, and then every shot's a really difficult one. Even the most simple things are really hard because you're on that, you can't find a way out of solving the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been there, like I said, from my own career, I've been there now and again and experienced that. But an individual, as you've always said, which is true, is that when you're dealing with it just you and you haven't got help from anybody else that can get you out of jail or can produce a moment of magic, it's a little bit easier. But when it's all on you,
I know,
and you're the only one that can even attempt to try and change the outcome,
it's hard. Really
it could be feel impossible. She's probably, like you said, got to 3-0 down in the second set, and she's probably just get this over with. Just get it over with.
Oh, it's
put me out of my misery.
It's heartbreaking, and all you can do is look at your box, look at all the people that have turned up for you, and think, I can't. There's nothing I can do. I can't beat.
Well, that's where you need people around you that are going to really lift you in a way that, and try and get you to get the bigger picture that you've made the final of Wimbledon. okay?
Absolutely.
And you've had some great wins along the way, and this was a big moment for you, and it will sit forever. But you have to move on. You just have to.
Yeah, exactly that. Okay. Talking of moving on, let's talk about the golf, shall we? The Scottish Open, which is heading into the final round, and Rory McIlroy has a share of the lead alongside our wonderful named Chris. I say our, it's not ours, he's American, but we just love the name because we talked about it yesterday. Chris Gotterup. Gotterup. It's unusual. We love it. Though. He's on 11 under now, Rory McIlroy. He says he feels he's kind of recapturing the form that won him the Masters, which obviously means with his home Open coming up next week at Royal Portrush, puts him in prime position, doesn't it? Or at least is setting him up.
Do you know what? I'd love Rory to say, and because I suspect this, that I'd just love him to turn around and go, do you know what? I enjoyed the win at the Masters too much. Because his game went for 2 or 3, competitions afterwards. He was nowhere near Rory McIlroy, and of course you get it. If you achieved the Grand Slam and what he's achieved in his career, he's been an incredible golfer. And if he wins, he's already won 3 times this year, Rory. And no one gives him too much credit for that, but he's won 3 times this year already. This could be his 4th, today, because he would be firm favourite today to win. But Rory has just suffered the consequences of that, getting over the line and not really wanting to go and play golf, but he's obliged to. So he's got to go to tournaments where he's put his name to it. So he's got to go and do it. And he's probably thinking, I'm just not ready for this. My mind is completely dishevelled. Which he has
suggested.
Yeah, exactly.
That he needed a bit of time out, and he has had that previously leading up into this Open and with the Scottish Open too. Yeah,
and look, it was really challenging conditions yesterday in Scotland. There was a bit of wind, it was dry, and you could see. I'm going to give a couple of mentions to other players, because Matt Fitzpatrick, it's nice seeing him getting back to his best.
I was just thinking of him. He's only 2 shots off, top.
And there's another lad called Marco Penge, and who drives the ball a country mile. I mean, most of the young lads do now anyway. He absolutely drives it like
He's an Englishman.
An Englishman. He's going to be... I'm sure if he has any success, he's going to have the world at his feet, because he's not a bad-looking lad who's, I think, sponsorship-wise, they'll be making the absolute most of him, because he's also seems... I mean, I've only seen him in interviews, but he talks well. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he goes today, because he's a proper golfer. I mean, the way he hits the ball. And there's a good few others. So the Scottish Open's been really good this year. Really enjoyed it up at Berwick, the Renaissance.
Well, I was going to look at the weather, but I haven't had time to look what the weather's going to be like up there. But it will be interesting. Could play a massive part in how this all pans out.
Links golf, the weather has
absolutely.
massive impact.
No, totally. But if it is really windy, it's who can play
and dry
best.
and hard, keeping the ball.
Of course. And when you look at the leaderboard, it's congested. Yeah. Anything could happen today, certainly.
Yeah. Anyone from sort of 11 under, we go down to 6 under, maybe even 5.
I was going to say, and at 6 under, you've got Scotty Scheffler there. Xander Schauffele, the defending Open champion, is at 5 under. A whole clutch of players at 7 under. It's tight. It is certainly tight. Just a quick mention, Rory McIlroy, if you haven't seen him, he's got quite a shaven head, hasn't he? He's gone for a very short trim. And I saw an interview where he spoke about it. He was asked about his hair, and he said, I did it because I was having too many greys, and I thought it would get rid of the greys. And he said, actually, it's turned out worse. There's more. It looks like he's got more grey hair than ever, he says.
I think his dad's completely white, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
So he knows it's coming.
He did say, so hopefully by the time the Ryder Cup comes around, it'll have grown out, he said, in terms of his hair will have grown, so he might not be as obvious. But, It's
great to see him playing like he's very best.
And
he's a joy to watch. Yeah, because he certainly looked a little bit more just... didn't want to be there sort of attitude.
Yeah,
with all the previous events.
Yeah, sort of.
I get it.
Yeah, with all the sort of not wanting to do the media and everything like that. Totally understandable. Okay. By the way, we have live coverage of the Scottish Open from the Renaissance Club, as Cass was saying there. It's on talkSPORT too, so you can tune into that to see how everything works out. In the next hour, we're going to bring you the latest transfer news circulating even around Europe. And as Cass mentioned, we'll go into the back pages too.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impact with the racket. The call of "new balls please" seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish, and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point: the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me is the former Marseille striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
There's an array of sport across the talkSPORT network today. The best in the world go head-to-head at the MetLife Stadium tonight as Chelsea take on PSG in the Club World Cup final. Captain Reece James is aware of the challenge against the French champions.
No, this game is a super high-level game. You know, they are, one of the hottest teams in the world at the moment. But, this is a final. This is a one-off game. Everyone has them down as strong favourites. But, I've been in many finals before where we've been favourites. And, we haven't come out on top.
There's a home nations derby in St Gallen as England take on Wales in their final group stage fixtures. The Lioness winger Lauren Hemp emphasised the importance of winning back-to-back games.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough match. Obviously, we've got so much respect for Wales. They've done really well in the competition so far, but we're very desperate to win, and we know what it's going to take to win. And we've reviewed the last game, we've looked at the game going forward, and yeah, I think we're just going to play to our strengths and do what we do. And yeah, you never know what you're going to get from this team, but I tell you what you will get is a lot of fight and a lot of character, and yeah, we're going to try our absolute best to win.
And despite not winning a game at the tournament so far, Wales head coach Rhian Wilkinson knows that their team can still hurt their opponents.
England is a top team. We know that. They've got some fantastic players that I've coached, and I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm looking forward to putting these incredible women out against them. The pressure is all on them. We know that. We know there's still a chance for us. We're aware of it, and when there's a chance, there's always an exciting element that we get to go towards and not be frightened of, because what do we have to fear? It's just an exciting opportunity.
And we will be bringing you on the talkSPORT network both those games. England against Wales at the Euros will be on talkSPORT 2, kicking off at 8. And at the same time, we're bringing you Chelsea against PSG right here on talkSPORT. Let's talk, Cass, more sort of transfer news, shall we? And we know that it seems Arsenal might be finally trying to lure a striker, a position that many of us have talked about for a number of seasons now, about what might be the missing link for them. And it seems as though Victor Gyökeres is the player that they are centering on. But it's all got, seemingly a little bit messy, it feels, because he has failed to turn up to a pre-season camp with his current team, Sporting Lisbon. He has remained in Sweden and has not turned up, as it's suggested, is bidding to force through a move to Arsenal. And as you can imagine, the Sporting president is not particularly pleased, especially as he is not happy with what Arsenal are offering as of yet in terms of their fee. He says if they don't want to pay Victor's fair market value, we're very comfortable with that for the next 3 years. This strategy is also making it more complicated for the player to leave. Nobody is above the interests of the club, whoever they are. We are calm. Everything will be resolved with the market closing, a hefty fine and an apology to the group. So, yeah, at the very least, they're suggesting, of course, he's going to be fined because he's not turned up for pre-season, and that as things stand, they're very happy to keep him at Sporting. It's turning a bit messy.
It's look, this happens so often in football, doesn't it? Where I'm never in agreement with a player that decides to, if we believe that the date that he was returned was this week and he didn't turn up, he has to suffer the consequences because he signed a deal, and on that deal there's 3 years left on that contract. Now, whether you like it or not, or think the club should do what you want them to do, they don't. So they've got to play ball. He's got to play ball with a club, and I think not turning up is not the right thing to do. I've always prided myself now, and there's nothing about not handing in transfer requests. I never wanted to do that because I always used to think if a club comes in for me and want me, then they got to pay the right amount of money, and then if the club agree, I can go and talk to them. But sometimes you get the feeling that players just think, well, this deal's going to be done because I want to go, and now it suits me to go. And look, it's a fabulous move for him for Arsenal, but Arsenal are going to have to meet the Sporting valuation.
Well, if you believe some of the reports, this is what the suggestion is, that Arsenal are willing to offer an initial £56 million plus add-ons, but Sporting are holding firm in that they want 60 million up front before any kind of bonuses and add-ons come into the equation. So that's the sticking point right now. You're talking about 4 million as the difference in terms of what Sporting are wanting up front. Do you sometimes think, if this is the player you really want, and listen, no one wants to be held to ransom, I'm not saying that, but you're talking 4 million, so it's not by all means a massive amount.
But you don't want to be an easy touch in negotiations either, do you?
No, absolutely.
And it is a small amount in the bigger picture, I totally agree. But I'm sure if Arsenal want him that much, they'll find some middle ground, and so will Sporting. I'm sure this will be resolved and he'll become an Arsenal player. If you ask my opinion, will he become one? I go, well, I'm 99% sure that I think it'll all fall in place. But what you've got at the moment is Sporting unhappy the fact that he didn't even turn up at training ground.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's not a good idea. Whoever is advising him should be saying to him, look, go back to the club. If your date is to return today, go and train. Be a professional, right? And we'll work on the deal with Sporting and with Arsenal, okay, for it to get over the line. You don't need to go and do, I'm not going back. I'm going to dig my heels in. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
No. There has been an article published in L'Equipe just yesterday, but it was actually an interview that was done in May. So way before all of this sort of saga began, really, or certainly the situation that we find themselves in right now, where he spoke about the want to play in England. he has said that, of course, he has played in England before. He was at Brighton previously, where he made 8 appearances, but has never yet played in the Premier League. And he said it's one of the biggest leagues in Europe. He says it's something I'd like to do. And he also goes on to say it'd be great revenge. I don't know if that's against Brighton. I'm not sure who he's referring to revenge for. But anyway, that's part of that article. And there are suggestions as well that there was meant to be a gentleman's agreement with Sporting, which would allow him to leave in the summer for £20 million less than his release clause. Gentleman's agreement?
Well, it's hard to figure out who's actually speaking the truth here, isn't it? You know, it might be an agent who's saying this was put on the table, and the club might have disagreed on that. You know, there's board members at clubs as well. It's not just about the owner. I'm sure it can be resolved, but the shake of the hand, that's not the modern world, is it? Look me in the eye and we've got a deal. That's very rarely going to happen now because everything's so legally bind. You know, so there's a lot of components in there. You've got the club, you've got the player, you've got the agent, you've got the club that you're going to or maybe going to. So it's a very difficult to work out exactly who's being totally honest and upfront here. You're trying to get the best value for your player. You know, because you can say, Nat, in one period you can go, oh, our player's worth £10 million. He's worth £10 million. He goes away and has a great tournament somewhere and say, we want 20.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I get you. Of
it's
course,
just
the price
the market.
changes.
The price changes. If you do brilliantly well in a tournament, you're not going to go for £10 million, are you? The club are going to want more because they've seen your value soared. Now, if you want someone that badly, you'll end up having to pay it. Unfortunately, that's how it works. And it can go the other way as well. I just don't agree with a player taking it upon himself to go, I'm not going to go back on the first day of training.
No.
I think it's a bad idea.
It's not a good look at all. But just briefly, if they do get this deal done, is he the right striker for Arsenal? And does that mean that they are serious? And I say serious, they have been serious title contenders for the last few years. But really, that's the missing link that could mean.
I think he leads the line brilliantly. He's really good on one-on-ones. He's not blisteringly quick, but quick enough, and he's strong enough. And he's got a lot of attributes as a player. And I think he's a way more mature player than he was, certainly from the days at Brighton, but then when in Coventry. Again, you know, watching him with Coventry, you could see that he's got something about him. He's always been really good technically as well, which not a lot of people give him credit for. He's way more technical, and his international record and scoring goals in the Champions League, I think he'll be a really good fit for Arsenal. And people have said to me a lot, you know, you've got friends in football, you've got Arsenal pals, and they say, what do you reckon, Sesko or Gyökeres? And I've always said, I think Gyökeres is a more complete player. I just think he's got a bit more. But Sesko a little bit younger, isn't he, as well? Yeah. Sesko. So I personally think it'd be a great signing for the club, and it will enable them to be in a chance of a title race. I think he'll contribute a lot to the team.
All right. We're still waiting to see what's happening with Noni Madueke as well, but it has been, I suppose for some Arsenal fans, it will certainly have been a good summer so far, and if they can get a couple more done, including Gyökeres, then wow, it could be a case of job done, and they'll be looking forward to the new season. Right, on the way next, we are going to delve into the back pages and bring you a couple of stories we want to highlight.
He plays that villain role very well now. That's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Good morning to you. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast with a man who knows how to do a shampoo and set and score goals. It's Tony Cascarino, who is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer, and we are with you until 10 this morning. Thank you very much for your messages so far about the sporting moments that you've either been a part of or you've witnessed where your team or you as an individual have been on the receiving end of a thrashing, or perhaps you dished it out. This following what happened at the Wimbledon ladies final yesterday. This is from Lee, who says, as a Watford season ticket holder, we went to Wembley in 2019 without any genuine pretense that we might win, but merely to keep an awesome Manchester City team down to 2 or 3. Could have done without the 6-0 loss. Ho hum, he says. Yeah, isn't it funny how there are certain teams that you come into when you know you're going to face them, and your first thought isn't that, oh, we might shock them. It's, how many can we restrict them to? Because you're that worried.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is from Ben, who says, biggest beatings I've witnessed were both home matches at Goodison. We beat Southampton and Sunderland 7-1. Felt for the away fans in the end. He says, I've also witnessed my own team taking a few beatings, but never to that extent. I mean, that is true. That's it's funny how at some stage, not everyone, but sometimes you end up having a bit of sympathy for the opposition, don't you? You're thinking, oh, that's not fun. That's not going to be a nice trip home, is it, after that? But not everyone will feel like that. But I mean, I know, watching that final yesterday, and I was on a group chat and we were talking about it, and I was saying, just my motherly instincts, I just want to give her a hug. I felt so awful for her. But
she'll be okay.
I know she will.
She will.
I
be
know.
Okay.
She's a professional, and she'll be good for it, because, funnily enough, it was mentioned afterwards that...
Got £1 million.
She's made a bit of... Oh, yes, that does certainly help.
When the cheque drops in her bank account, feel a bit better.
Bit of retail therapy, that helps. But do you remember Jana Novotná when she lost, and then she came back to win a few years later? So sometimes, you have to go through that to come out the other side and maybe be better for it too. Let's talk papers. You already mentioned you want to talk about Andy Carroll and Dagenham and Redbridge, so go on, tell us more.
Yeah, well, it's by Hannah Hope, and it's an exclusive with Andy Carroll, and the headline, kids will be shocked they thought I was signing for Chelsea. He signed for Daggers. And it's just really, he talks about his career, and he loves playing football. He said it's never really been about the money. He's loved the money. He's obviously loved them, been privileged. He said, but I love playing football. And you could tell that. Think of the moves he's had. Yeah. And this is one of them. But when he went to Amiens in France, now Amiens is a small club, a tiny club in France. And obviously from there, he's ended up at Bordeaux, and they had all their relegation issues. But he's going to join Daggers. And he said in the interview he had other offers to play elsewhere, but he wanted to be close to his kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, he also has become a shareholder at the Daggers. So he's got an interest in the club as well. Yeah. And Dagenham and Redbridge now is a really strange club. I mean, I got to know John Steele very well. I know John Steele, who used to be the manager there, and I went to a lot of games when he was there managing, and they're a strange club, as in, if they get promoted, they get 1,500 fans, the same as they would have got in the lower division. Right. So when they're in League 2 and they get to League 1, there was no difference in 1,500 last year, we'll get 3,000 next year. That doesn't happen at Dagenham. And they've got this relationship with West Ham, where basically Dagenham is sort of the feeder club, not say a feeder club, but as in everyone supports West Ham in Dagenham, or nearly. So it's a very strange club, and they're rivals with Southend more than anybody, which is obviously quite a number of miles away. It's a club that just never has... we talk about, it's a London club, it's worth a lot of money. And they've seen Leyton Orient have the growth that they've had. And now they're in the Conference South, Dagenham and Redbridge. Yeah. But it's an area that there's a lot of growth possible. You know, we've got Tony, our producer, who comes from Dagenham. And so his heart is sort of, although he's a Manchester United fan, he has a real
it's an affiliation.
affection for Dagenham. And I think anyone would do. But there are a London club that never seems that everyone's been really interested in a strange way.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they've been bought out by a Qatari consortium.
I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because obviously this Qatari consortium, hopeful, I'm sure, that this could be an exciting journey for them. They might be looking at the Wrexham story and what happened with them, coming from non-league to now competing in the Championship for next season. So... yeah, I mean...
they sold everybody Dagenham, and John Still would say, he said, the wages of the club would hardly change.
I remember 1 year, I think we signed 3 players from Dagenham and Redbridge. Yeah. So, I do know what you mean.
It's a strange London club, because a lot of London clubs have had that boom. Brentford have had a boom. You've had Leyton Orient and what's happened to them in recent years, and they've had that experience of, promotion, much more exciting, new stadium on the horizon. Dagenham have never really had anything to sort of shout about.
Yeah. It's great, though. It's a great story.
Yeah, and great for him. He wants to play again at 36.
Yeah, very much so. But also that story of, like you've just mentioned there, about the Dagenham and Redbridge side of things and how maybe it's a bit of a forgotten club as well. Yeah. Puts them back on the map. This investment gives them the encouragement that, could be onwards and upwards for them once again, because they were a Football League club.
I'm definitely going to go and watch him this year, playing for Dagenham.
Yeah, that'd be a great story.
I want to see exactly what he's like, and just, because he's a player, I would sort of say in my same style I played football. I tried to attack everything airily, was a bit fearless in the way I played. That's Andy Carroll. Look, what was it, 2011-10, when he went to Liverpool? 35 million, massive move. A lot of questions about that transfer. Number of injuries in his career as well, some bad ones. So, but I'm really interested in just the Andy Carroll story, full stop, because he seems like a really humble guy as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to you, Nat.
Does dominate a few of the papers today. I'm taking you into the Sunday Times. We've already talked about the Scottish Open, where a certain Xander Schauffele isn't too far off the top. What is he, 5 under, 11 under is the lead. He is the defending Open champion, and this is a piece by Tom Kershaw. And I found it fascinating because, as you can see there, if you're watching on your smart TV, YouTube, for example, the headline is "Meet the Schauffele's most eccentric father and son dynamic in sport." From wrestling to giving his son brandy and cigars at 14, Stefan and Xander are a partnership forged from adversity. And it's really interesting. It's an interview with his father, more than anything, who talks about he is originally from Germany but moved to America, and I'll go into details as to why that came about. But he talked about his paternal ways and had said, how do I push him? So he would stand his ground in the face of a man twice his size without fear. It was this bizarre sort of, he's an alpha male, I need to raise an alpha male. So that's why he encouraged all sorts of behaviours that you might not encourage your children to do, especially when he says in America the drinking age is 21, but you're allowed to be killed for your country at 18, he said. But I said to them that they have to learn everything in life and have every experience that they can until they're 16, he said, because then at 16, he said, you're an adult in my mind. So he did sort of not encourage, but said, you should try some things. And I'm not going to say everything that he encouraged, but some things that were smoking, drinking, all before the legal age, plus a little bit more as well, because it was like, you need to try it. You need to experience it to know it's not for you, is basically what he's trying to advise them. He came from a family, as Stefan, I should say, the father, as I mentioned, in Germany, that his great-grandfather was going to be an Olympian, but unfortunately injury ruled him out. So there's a little bit of a sad story in that. And it sort of echoes Stefan's life as well, because he himself had been sort of plucked out as somebody that could have had a career when it came to athletics. But unfortunately, he was involved in a head-on collision by a drink driver, which meant he lost one of his eyes as a result. So he's blind in one eye. Had a total of 6 surgeries, for example, and really grieved a career that he felt he could have had, and turned to alcohol and drugs as a result of it. he said the biggest thing was I never found out if I would have been good enough. It became such a big thing in my mind. So I then promised myself that if my kids had a talent and they were willing to walk that path, I would make sure to find out how good they can be. And that's what happened with his son Xander, who at a very young age just picked up golf, wanted to do golf. And he said he remembers reading in one of his books where he had said that he wanted Xander to be a PGA Tour player. And at that point, Stefan decided that was what we had to do. That was the reality we had to make. And he goes on to talk about the number of loans that they had to take out, that obviously put the family in debt just to ensure Xander had the best opportunity to become a golfer. And of course, he's a major winner and has won a number of tournaments.
Top 5 player in the world.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice piece. And what's also fascinating is Xander himself talks about keeping himself grounded. He still drives his 2015 Toyota Camry, he says, all to remind himself of the struggles he has been through in his career. And I quite like that element of it too. You know,
well, that's being humble, isn't it?
Yeah, he says, you know, I have driven up to Torrey Pines this year and I get heckles for it, but it's all good fun. You know,
love that story.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
it's a really lovely piece.
He is a fabulous talented golfer as well.
Yeah,
he really is. And his rise in the last 2 or 3 years has been extraordinary, because you've had Scheffler, you've had McIlroy, you've had others, you know, that have gone to the Live Tour, and he's whatever it is, it's worked for him.
And there's that great picture of at the Ryder Cup, by the look of it, where Xander is smoking a cigar alongside his father. And then obviously what happened with winning the Open last year, and they talk about how we initially put red wine in the claret jug, but we quickly learned that we shouldn't, because we looked like absolute drunkards. So we had to switch to clear liquors, which might have smelt bad, but it didn't look bad. So that's why they did that. They clearly got a great relationship, and Xander has been very quick to sort of say, when he won the Olympic gold, if you remember, in Tokyo, he gave his medal to his dad just to say thank you for all the support you've given me.
It's an interesting outlook of how to bring up your children, and not the conventional way where you're going, well, no,
protect them at all costs.
Well, what is worse? Well, your kid does everything behind your back.
Yeah,
you don't know what's going on, and then you find out it's too late and you can't do anything about it. But at least if he knows what he's doing and he can monitor him and see with failure, whatever he's doing, that he can rise from that. It's a very interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah. No, it's a really good piece.
It's not conventional at all, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. But really, really interesting piece. And as I mentioned, he is in contention to win the Scottish Open and will be looking to defend his title at Royal Portrush next weekend. Right, on the way next, we're going to bring you the latest transfer news. As you can imagine, this window is continuing to bring us some fascinating stories. very good morning to you. Thank you very much for tuning into the Weekend Sports Breakfast. It is the former Nancy and Red Star striker Tony Cascarino, because you only played how many times for Red Star?
Well, it says 2, but I won. I literally decided after the one game I played, I just went and saw the president and just said, I can't do it, my knee's not right.
Yeah.
And he wasn't happy.
And that was your last ever game? Your last ever club?
Yeah, I quit. Yeah, after that.
Gosh.
It was one of them. I had 3 cortisone injections in my right knee on the final season. That was at Nancy. And it got me through. I chose not to have the injections again at the start of the season, the next one. And I just didn't feel the same now. My knee was a real problem.
Yeah. Gosh.
And I didn't want to keep having cortisones in my knee. Like I said, 3 was enough in 1 year.
Yeah.
I just thought there'd be bigger consequences. So.
Isn't it? I mean, that just goes to show how players just have to play through the pain so often.
Yeah.
And we don't know about it sometimes, you know?
And the injection was pretty painful as well.
I can imagine.
Big needle.
Ooh. Don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
It is Tony Cascarino then, who is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer. And let's talk about some of the transfer rumours that are doing the rounds currently. Newcastle, as we know, have completed the signing of Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest for £55 million. But it seems as though they might be on the verge of agreeing a big money deal for the Eintracht Frankfurt striker Hugo Ekitike, who has a release clause of around £86 million. Wow. That's a lot of money, obviously.
He's a French international, isn't he? He's French.
I don't know.
I think he's French, yeah.
But we'll go with that. I mean, it's a lot of money, especially when they have Isak. Now, I'm all for you need cover, but it does seem like a lot for a player that, who, you know.
Well, obviously, Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah, of course.
Think the world of him.
That's the price they want.
Think he's, worth, or going to be worth in the next few years, a huge price. So what do? You give him a contract that you get him to sign, and then you put a massive release clause in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which sometimes
don't know too much about him, to be honest.
Off rather than
it might put them off. But if someone recognises a striker they really believe is that good, I can only see that sort of move happening if they sold.
I know, that's what I don't understand.
I don't quite feel that Newcastle could do. Or could have 2, or maybe he's versatile and he can play in different positions as well. Don't know an awful lot about him, so
no, he is a French striker, but yet to play for the senior team, under 21s, etc. But not as of yet with that senior team. But yeah, it does make you wonder what does that mean potentially for Alexander Isak, which I know Newcastle fans are fed up of hearing anyone discuss Isak because they're desperate to keep hold of him, as I would be wanting that too. But you just sort of think if they're linking them with a striker who comes in with a hefty fee, is that because maybe he's leaving? And Tony Gannon has just got in touch to say, well, he's joining Liverpool, Isak. That's why. You'd love that, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't say no.
You wouldn't complain,
No, I wouldn't complain. I think at his best, he's a wonderful talent. He's so skillful. His movement is incredible. Great finisher. Sees an opportunity. He's got the Henry sort of, the way he can just place it into an area of the goal that Henry did so well.
Manchester United goalkeeper Andre Onana will miss the remainder of Manchester United's tour of the USA through injury and potentially the start of the Premier League as well. That's leading to further speculation that Ruben Amorim will be looking for a new goalkeeper, and Emi Martinez has been one that has already been linked with a move to Old Trafford. Regardless of the injury situation of Andre Onana, I mean, is that a priority, the goalkeeper for Amorim? Yeah,
most definitely. I think Onana has not performed to the level of consistency. I think he's passing out the back is the highest risk taker I've ever seen from any goalkeeper. I've come away thinking, is he really just attempted that pass? Which is okay playing out from the back, but to a degree. And I think he's shot stopping. I think he's easily beaten. So, I'd absolutely look at that position and go, we need a more consistent, more solid, more trusted goalkeeper in between the posts for us. They really do need that.
And Martinez would fit the bill for you?
Yeah, well, he's been a top goalkeeper since he left Arsenal as a second keeper and become Villa's number 1. He's become a World Cup winner. He's a confident boy. Sometimes he upsets people by his confidence, but he's week in, week out, he's a top keeper. Yeah.
With my club, there have been a number of outgoings already, most notably the manager, Thomas Frank, but also the captain, Christian Norgard, has gone. The goalkeeper, Mark Flecken, has moved to Germany. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with Brian Mbeumo. And there's also links now with Johan Wissa, who we understand here at talkSPORT is pushing for a move away. Nottingham Forest are a club who are keeping an eye on him. They were reportedly linked with him last season as well. They've put in a bid, so they say, of around 20-25 million, which is half of what Brentford want for him if they were to sell him.
I don't think Brentford will get 40 or 50. I don't see that.
Well, that's what we're saying. We're looking to sell in excess of 50 million. I mean, if you're going to... Look, you're going to put your price tag on a player. He's 28.
28. You're not going to get that fee. You're not. And the lad clearly wants one big move. He wants a really big move, which is at his age now. He's looking at and thinking, well, this would be, my sort of, not my pension, but at 28 years old, but my big move that gives me an opportunity to earn really big money. I think that's what it's quite a clear indication, which is one of the problems that a club like Brentford will face, is that you won't go above a certain wage, which is, say, 50,000 a week, where someone might double his wages.
Yeah.
And that's where he is. And he's probably thinking, this is my golden chance.
I mean, I was under the impression, and I could be wrong because, if the right fee comes in, but I was under the impression they wouldn't sell both Mbeumo and Wissa. But again, we have to wait and see what happens with that one. AC Milan, it seems, are closing in on a deal for Real Madrid legend Luka Modric, who is set to leave Real Madrid.
I heard this at the end of last year for a year's deal.
On a free after 13 years. Yeah. I mean, I suppose...
He's 39.
I mean, listen... We know what there are players.
AC Milan love an old player, don't they? They do. I mean, you think of them that the amount of old players they've had, even when they had the greats of Maldini and Baresi, but they took Ibrahimovic back at a certain age. Giroud, Oliver.
Yeah.
Giroud went there at 30-something, 36, 37. And to look at Luka Modric at 39 and go, we'll give him a year's deal here. I mean, Mkhitaryan's 37 at the club now. It's really strange how they seem to be obsessed with not old players, but players certainly that have seen better days.
Mkhitaryan is at Inter.
Oh, Inter. I'm just talking.
Milan.
Milan. Okay, yeah.
It's the San Siro.
But do you know what I mean? I'm talking about players that go to certain clubs in Italy for quite an old age.
Yeah, but I suppose for him, I mean, he's the World Cup. He's got to play if he wants to be.
Don't get me wrong. He hasn't
retired, has he, from Croatia?
No, I haven't heard. No, I haven't heard anything. But
I'm saying that, and I'm thinking, has he? No,
2 years ago, when it was Qatar and that, look at the Qatar World Cup. I mean, Luka Modric wasn't out of place, but he's missed a lot more football this year, hasn't he? He's been in and out of the Real Madrid team. Understandably, why? Just seems it seems that AC especially do love to take on a player of a certain age.
But it's brilliant at the same time that we are seeing some of these greats still playing.
Well, we're talking over here about Henderson at 35, and yet someone who's 4 years older.
You're talking about a 28-year-old striker like he's has been. Oh, you can't expect 50 million for him.
I
know what you're saying, but it just sounds ridiculous that we're also saying that 28-year-old, he's getting old now. Yeah. It's ridiculous, but equally, we mentioned it before. It just goes to show how it feels as though footballing careers are just getting longer and longer, which is brilliant.
Do you know there's a number of clubs now who don't look at players over 27?
I know.
That's like a model now.
But
over 27.
I don't really get that.
I don't. But the obvious reason is because they're looking to do turnover of players, buy and sell, look for profit.
And I understand that.
And I get that model, but if you want to be successful, you're going to have to buy some players over 27. There are certain clubs that are doing that.
And I totally agree with you. And isn't that why we sometimes say, for example, when you said, we've talked about Chelsea before and how young that squad is, at times in the season, don't they miss Thiago Silva? Don't they miss that experience in the team? It's a bit like the Jordan Henderson move with Brentford. We're talking about, we've just lost Christian Norgard. Actually, that's experience, that's leadership we've lost out on. At bare minimum, that's a big thing for us. And we've got a very young team as well. I think I said yesterday, our average age is around 24. So you do need older heads. You just do at times. And senior figures to look up to. So, I'm all for... Listen... I'd like to be a 31-year-old, olden as such, but those days are gone. We move on. Up next, we'll look back at the ladies' Wimbledon final and then look ahead to what is to come down at SW19 as we've got an intriguing men's final to look forward to. Former British tennis player Barry Cowan is with us next. Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast with a man who has the freedom in the French town of Nancy. That's Tony Cascarino, and I'm Natalie Sawyer with you until 10 today. Here are some of your headlines. Rory McIlroy says he is now close to his Masters winning form after putting himself in prime position for another Scottish Open title with an imposing third round 66 to share the lead at 11 under. talkSPORT understands Nottingham Forest are considering legal action over what they see as an illegal approach from Tottenham for Morgan Gibbs-White. And Owen Farrell made his first appearance on the British and Irish Lions tour of Australia as the Lions ran in an 8 unanswered tries in a rout of the Australia-New Zealand Invitational 15. And after the match, head coach Andy Farrell was full of praise for his side.
I did okay. We did okay, yeah. So, as did many others tonight. There's some great individual performances, wasn't there? But I suppose how those individual performances gel together as a collective, and I thought it was a professional team performance because the tricky ones, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. When you play against a side that's got all the talent that they have, but they've had 7 or 8 days to come together. If you give them a sniff and give them belief, then it becomes a hard day at the office. But I thought we was very professional in the way that we went about most of our business today.
Very professional, he says.
Yeah.
After a 48-0 drubbing. This was meant to be one of the toughest tests for them ahead of that first test against Australia, but it certainly turned out to be a good victory for them. And don't forget, we're bringing you that first test next weekend. And for more of all those stories, do head to our website. That's talksport.com. Now, Iga Swiatek is the new Wimbledon ladies champion after she won one of the most one-sided finals after beating Amanda Anisimova 6-love in just under an hour yesterday. A similar thrashing isn't expected in the men's final today, as the last time Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner met in a Grand Slam final, it turned into an epic encounter lasting almost 5.5 hours. Now, 35 days on from that thriller at Roland Garros, they meet again in today's men's final at Wimbledon. Joining us to look ahead to that and to look back at what happened yesterday, it's former British tennis player Barry Cowan. Morning to you, Barry.
Barry.
Good morning, Kaz. Good morning, Natalie. How are we?
We're very well. Good. How are you?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to this afternoon. It's going to be an unbelievable match. And what sport always needs is rivalries. And these two certainly have it, going back to when they first played in a lower level tournament 6 years ago. And I think anyone that's seen Wimbledon in the last couple of weeks, they are kind of head and shoulders above everyone else at the moment.
Yeah. But saying that, Barry, they both had, they dropped sets and they had their difficult moments, but they clearly are the two best players. But I felt along the way there were certain matches they just got in a little bit of trouble, but got out of it quite easily in the end. But for both of them, Alcaraz and Sinner.
Yeah, well, I'll start with Alcaraz. Alcaraz, history will tell you he'll always have dips. I mean, that first round match against Fognini was a brilliant encounter. But for Alcaraz, he's won 33 of his last 34 matches. And I think he plays with such a free spirit. I think almost at times, earlier on in the tournament, he kind of knows he's much better than his opponent. And I feel at times the tactics kind of go out the window because he doesn't need tactics. He just plays and he's better. So I think that's why we have the dips along the way. But I think what we've seen in the last couple of matches is him reach near perfection. I thought the one against Fritz was of really, really high level. Fritz threw everything at Alcaraz. But unfortunately, when you throw everything at Alcaraz or Sinner, it's pretty difficult to do for long periods of time. So, and in the end, that's what happened. Alcaraz was able to race through it in 4 sets. As for Sinner, yeah, he's lucky. I mean, he was looking like he was going out against Dimitrov. Of course, that was really unfortunate what happened to the Bulgarian. But against that Djokovic, albeit a below par Djokovic with the injury, he was outstanding. One of the performances actually of the 2 weeks in terms of his overall play.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Djokovic was below par, offered very little resistance against Sinner in that semi-final. Just in terms of, in general, I mean, Alcaraz has at times started slowly in matches. And as you say, he always comes good. Is there any element of fear about burnout for him? Because it just seems he often is taken to 4-5 sets.
Well, burnout at the moment, no. When you're winning as much as he's winning, and here is someone that has played 5 major finals, and he has won all 5 big finals. So today, absolutely not. I think we're going to see 2 players in their absolute prime, and that's what I can't wait. I mean, people, I'm sure you're looking at, and people have asked me, who do you think will win? I honestly have no idea, because they are so close in terms of their skill set. I mean, where I'm leaning towards Alcaraz is because I think when I look at his overall play, once he reaches Superman status in matches, and I believe no one can touch him. But Sinner is that player that will play at that level for 4 or 5 hours. But on grass, when I look at who ultimately what might decide it, I think Alcaraz is variety. The serve and volley, we've seen him do that a lot. The slice, the drop shot, where Sinner is more of the sort of one-paced player. So that's why I'm sort of leaning towards Alcaraz. But listen, anything's possible, especially after that French Open final when he saved those match points with heroic tennis.
Incredible.
I mean, look, the weather has been extraordinary, hasn't it, Barry? You know, we've seen literally zero rain, apart from one day, I think, where it's rained heavily. Wimbledon is always pretty immaculate anyway, but we've seen a lot of, especially in the early rounds, lots of bizarre bounces where, players are looking at the court and thinking, This bounce isn't normal. But I go into this day game and I'm thinking the conditions again, hot, fast, typical lawn tennis, at its very best.
Yeah, they've said actually the courts are playing 100% harder now than they were at the start of the tournament. So they are literally almost like a hard court. And what we're seeing with Sinner especially, he's kind of redefining moving on a grass court. You think of Sampras and you think of Federer and how elegant they were in terms of their movement. What Sinner wanted to work on before this season's grass court season was sliding. So you'll see him slide, as if he's back at Roland Garros on the clay. I mean, it's remarkable how they don't roll their ankles. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be. It's obviously one of those. It's sit tight, be prepared for the long haul.
Yeah, I was going to say, make sure you've got all your drinks around you because
not like yesterday.
No, absolutely.
That was a shame yesterday. It really was.
I mean, I tuned into it, Barry, and very early on, you could see that this was not going to be an easy afternoon for Amanda Anisimova, as it turned out to be, to lose 6-love like she did. And we've obviously tried to put the positive perspective on it because it's her first major final, an incredible 2 weeks at Wimbledon, having missed out on qualifying last year altogether. And she's obviously had her mental health problems. She's taken time out from the game before as well. So these are factors to bring in about how incredible this tournament has been for her. But how on earth does she kind of get over something so... I mean, she was absolutely distraught. We saw it, what happened afterwards. How on earth does she move on from this, do you think?
Well, I got asked a question, and I'm going to throw it to both of you too. So one was an ex-sportsman, and obviously, Natalie, you love your sport. Would you rather lose in the final, 6-love, or lose in the semi-final?
I'll take the final.
Of course you would. Of course you would. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I made that point earlier to Natalie, Barry, that look, sometimes I know it's really painful because it's a heavy loss. You feel like you've been humiliated, and that's a tough thing for sports, especially in individual sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... I heard you talking about it an hour ago as I was driving in. It's not the Novotná situation. Novotná, that first time, that was... Let's call it as we saw it. It was a choke. She was a set and a breakup. Yesterday, I mean, she was clearly nervous. But I think the factor of the semi-finals... I think it took a lot out of her emotionally and probably physically. And then also on the other side of it, you saw a ruthless competitor in Swiatek. She is, you only have to look at her results. I call her the bagel queen. I mean, the amount of 6-love sets she has across the season. And again, my takeaway, and I often say it when I'm in commentary and also when you look at younger players, is the start. If you can go out there with the right mindset and you can mean business, Cash, with football, if you are the better team and you come out of the traps, the first 5 or 10 minutes, you can win the match. And that's what she did. She got on top early, and at no stage was she going to lose focus. And because she knew if she did lose a little bit of focus and took the foot off the pedal, then that could have actually turned around very quickly, because Anisimova, as we saw, is she's a quality act. She's in the top 10 this year in terms of her success. Yes, yesterday was uncomfortable for her, but I think we'll look back in a few years' time and we'll go, you know what, that Wimbledon experience actually enhanced her for her.
Yeah, very much so. Barry, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, Barry.
Enjoy the final.
We will do.
Bye.
Thank you very much, former British star there. Barry Cowan joining us to reflect upon what happened yesterday and looking ahead to today. I mean, goodness me. There are positives to take from something as difficult as it was for her yesterday, and she was emotional. And that's what I meant with the comparisons to Jana Novotná, if you remember, from that first final that she got to. But as I say, she then went on to win Wimbledon a few years later. So there was always the possibility of, coming good and learning from the experience of before.
Well, let's face it, in life you're going to foul. There isn't,
absolutely.
You're going to foul, and sometimes it's going to be really brutal, like it was yesterday. But you can rise, and I'm sure she'll be fine. Long term, You just look at what you've achieved already and you take it forward and you try to... She's already admitted that she felt that she didn't have the physical condition to achieve the ultimate goal is to complete the final. Yeah. So she's already identified the biggest issue.
Yeah. Indeed. Right. We will, of course, have updates from that men's Wimbledon final for you. But on the way next, we'll look ahead to the Lionesses ahead of their home nation's clash in the Euros against Wales.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting, and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tenez, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impacts with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour optic yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast, live on your radio, YouTube and your smart TV. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me is the former Gillingham striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
It all comes down to this tonight. Who will be crowned the Club World Cup champions as Chelsea take on PSG?
In the springtime, they've beaten Inter by 5-0. Can Europe's best finish the summer on top of the world? There's an opportunity for Gonzalo Ramos, who turns and wraps it in to make it 4-0 to Paris Saint-Germain.
Kind of further confirmation that PSG are the most impressive team in the world at the moment.
But I'm really fascinated to see where Chelsea are at. Wide towards João Pedro, left-hand side of the penalty area. He's shown the inside. He takes the route and he hammers the ball home in majestic fashion.
This is the Club World Cup. Best club in the world they are here.
The argument will be made if they were to win this tournament, which I don't think they will do if they get PSG, is that they're the best team in the world. It's a silly argument because they're not the best team in the world. They've won the inaugural tournament and the draw's been incredibly favourable.
We're a keeper away. I still think we're a keeper away from being a side that can do something.
Enzo Maresca and his men will know they've got their work cut out. Full time, Paris Saint-Germain 4, Real Madrid 0.
So let's look ahead to this Club World Cup final, all thanks to DAZN.
FIFA Club World Cup Roundup on talkSPORT, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com.
Joining us this morning to help us look ahead to this final, to give us the French perspective, it is French football expert Julien Laurent. Julien, good morning. How are you?
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Very good. And you? Hello, Cass.
Well, as an ex-Marseille player, Julian,
here we go.
Watching this rise of PSG has become incredibly painful.
I can imagine, my friend. I can imagine.
But there's the biggest smile on Julien's face, for sure.
I know. Julian, I look at the team and when they played Real Madrid, and I was just like, Real Madrid had no counter argument or couldn't do a thing about what PSG were doing. It was basically the work rate of incredibly technical players. That's what PSG have become, which is a complete opposite to where they were 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We said it enough on the shows on talkSPORT. You went from trying to sign just the best players in the world, even if it didn't really make sense football-wise in terms of how you build your team, to finally actually thinking, let's build the team first and then make this team competitive to go and win trophies. Because Messi, Neymar, Mbappe are obviously wonderful players, some of the greatest ever, especially for Messi, maybe the greatest ever. But that doesn't mean that that front three is going to work with the rest of the team behind. What was nice, true, and the question was asked to Luis Enrique last night, and he said, I've got 11 stars now, not just 1 or 2 stars and then the rest behind. It's everybody attacking together, defending together, playing for each other, and that's the main difference, which is true. You can always do with talent, you know, Cass. You've played with super talented players, but if you don't play as a team, you can have the most talent that you want, you might not go anywhere.
In terms of this run to the final, then they've had 3 4-0 wins. You've already mentioned that Real Madrid victory last time out as well. So how close, Julian, are they to playing at the level that saw them win that Champions League final?
I think they're there, Natalie. I really do. I think they may be a little bit more tired, and we saw in the group stages the defeat against Botafogo, even with a mixed team, that they were maybe not as intense and with the same energy that they had during the season, and their legs were a bit heavy. But it seems that they've recovered now. It's been a very long season for them. This is their 65th or 66th game for the season, which is ridiculous. If you add international games for pretty much all of them, it's even more than that. So yeah, I think they may be just a little bit tired compared to when they were at their best against Inter or even in the semi-final or quarter-final of the Champions League, but they're still very, very performant.
Julian, I've read a number of articles in the papers talking about how to counter PSG, how to hurt them and cause them problems, and I'm thinking, well, if you're thinking behind their fullbacks, Hakimi and Mendes, who are both exceptional. I mean, Hakimi, I've said to Natalie, I think he's a Ballon d'Or winner for me. I think he's had an amazing season. But it's actually hard to try and work out how to beat them. So my question is really, what do you think Chelsea's best chances of beating PSG are?
I mean, you could say they should play deeper and just leave the ball to PSG and then hit them on a counter, a bit like what Botafogo did. But this is obviously very risky because the more PSG have the ball, the more you run after the ball, and the more they can have their game in place. And unless you're very clinical in the 1 or 2 counter-attack chances that you can create, it would be difficult for them. Or you go after them, like we saw Villa doing it very well in the second half of the second leg quarter-final in the Champions League. Arsenal in the first 20 minutes of that second leg semi-final in Paris too did it really well. You press them high, you're very aggressive. But then, if your press one time is not as efficient as it should be, then they go through you and they will create something. And Bayern Munich tried to do it, and again, they were outplayed in that second half especially. So it's very, very difficult. I think for me, is if you can compete with them in midfield and sort of stifle the importance of Vitinha, Neves and Ruiz, because they're so difficult to play against. They have so much rotation, they move so much, not really one is in a position and the other two as well. It's a midfield battle for me, Cass, really. And I'm just not sure if Enzo and Caicedo, especially the two of them, because they're playing a 4-2-3-1, can compete with the PSG midfield 3.
I mean, there's goal scorers across this PSG side. You mentioned obviously Hakimi there, and he's been instrumental with what he can do down the wing, for example. But what I wanted to ask you as well with regards to this team, when you look at how 2024 ended, at one stage it did look like they might bow out of the Champions League in the early league phase. We've talked about it earlier on when we were looking ahead to the final, as in the Champions League final early this year. We were talking about 2025 was just incredible for PSG. What's significant about 2025 and the turnaround that has seen them go on to win the Champions League final finally?
I think the maybe the most important thing outside of how this team has been built and those superstars, etc., is to move Dembele from a right winger or left winger that he's been all his career pretty much, really, to that centre forward, false 9, number 9, whatever you want to call it, position, because Luis Enrique did that a little bit last season, but not so much. But this season, in December, that's when he started to play him there, and they worked a lot together on what he wanted Dembele to do pressing-wise, and we saw what an incredible presser of the ball he is, really, and counter-pressing, but also with the ball. And Dembele has been a revelation, really. And I'm with Cass on Hakimi being wonderful, both of you, but Dembele, for me, deserves the Ballon d'Or for everything that he does with the ball and without the ball for this team. But that was the first thing. And then it all clicked, really, in that second half against Man City in the group stage of the Champions League, where they were 2-0 down after 55 minutes. They looked like they were going to go out of the Champions League, and yet they turn it around in the most incredible fashion, really, to win 4-2. And after that, all the players saying it, this is the moment for them where it all clicked. And after that, they never looked back, and nobody had been able to compete with them.
Chelsea, I mean, they've got themselves in a position of a final. You could probably debate and say it's an easier route for them as they've got to this World Cup final. I look at Chelsea as a very similar model to what PSG is. With the age of the team, they're trying to mould this team into be something coming. So do you feel there's a lot more optimism with what you see with Chelsea as well, Julian?
Yeah, and I like Maresca. I like what he's trying to do. Even in this competition, because we saw different formation, different tactics. You know, with Cucurella, for example, playing different roles, with Enzo playing different roles, even the 210s playing different roles. Joao Pedro looks great. The Lab looks great. So the signings, you know, we talked a lot about Chelsea signings in the past not making much sense, and we were wondering, like, how are they building that squad? But so far this summer, I think they've been quite spot on with the players they signed. And then you've got Cole Palmer, who's maybe not the Cole Palmer of the start of the season, but he's still Cole Palmer and he's still great. So I think they're there. I think physically they can compete with PSG. I think in terms of intensity they can match them if they want to at times, maybe not all the time, but at times. And I think they will make it hard for PSG. I think PSG are the favourite and they have to be for everything we've just said. But I think Chelsea will give them a really good game tonight, and I think they're on their way up. And I think they're back to the direction they wanted to be maybe a few months ago.
We've spoken a number of times recently about French football and the financial difficulties that they are going through, bar PSG. I know you're a PSG fan, so you want them to be successful, Julien. But, winning a tournament like this brings them an incredible fortune, nearly 100 million or so, possibly more as well. In terms of just being a French football fan, does that worry you that PSG just continue to be so successful when it comes to the riches that they have that it's going to cause problems throughout the French league as a whole.
No, they need Marseille.
Yeah.
They need Marseille to be challenging.
Yeah, and to be fair, Marseille are investing and Monaco are investing. We see that with Pogba arriving at the club. There's other clubs that are trying to do their thing, but it's difficult because you're right. There's no money, and the gap is getting bigger and bigger financially between PSG and the rest. And then on the pitch as well, when you see this PSG team that can win a 5th title tonight, and the others must be thinking De Zerbi at Marseille, Hertha at Monaco must be thinking, wow, okay, I don't know how we're going to beat them next season, but they'll try. And the good thing is they're trying. We've got great academies, as Cash knows. We produce great players. They try to find players to sign from other leagues that they can then make better, that then will end up in the Premier League at some point or in another of the top 5 leagues. But it's not easy, yeah. And for the first time, we have no TV rights deal with a normal channel. We're creating our own channel to show the Ligue 1 games in France, which again is a massive challenge. So let's see where we are in a year or so. But you're right, Nat. It's true that another 120 million for PSG is going to harm the rest and make that gap bigger.
Yeah. As it is tonight, it is the final. You'll be rooting for PSG. Go on. Are you going to do this with another clean sheet?
I don't know. I think Chelsea will score. I said 2-1 PSG, because I think Chelsea are going to make things harder, really. And it's a final, It's not going to be like Inter Milan. They're not going to win 5-0. So I said 2-1 PSG. And there will be this. There's the Super Cup final, obviously, against Tottenham on August 13th. That could be a 6th title. And then there will be an Intercontinental Cup in December, because that's still alive somehow. I want the fantastic 7 for PSG.
You're not asking for much then, Julian.
No, just it.
Fantastic. Great to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, Julian.
Just the 7 trophies in 2025. Not too bad.
Look, whatever we say, what PSG have done and produced the team that they've got has been extraordinary. It really has.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. That was a look ahead to the FIFA Club World Cup with DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free. We've only got one more left on DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com.
FIFA Club World Cup Roundup on talkSPORT, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com to watch every game live and for free.
He plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
You're tuning in to the Weekend Sports Breakfast this Sunday morning with a man who once got 2 assists in an FA Cup semi-final. That's Tony Cascarino, and he is alongside me, Natalie Sawyer, as we take you through until the Sunday edition at 10. It's time for us to bring you the latest odds from Carroll.
The Carroll Daily Download on talkSPORT with Carroll. We're here for it. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Good morning, Simon Clare. How are you doing?
Simon?
I'm good, Natalie. I'm good, Cass. How are you doing?
Yeah, I saw you on the TV. Was it this week?
Really?
You was on the TV. Was it last week?
It was about racing.
Racing, yeah. I saw you on the TV.
Carroll Eclipse Day last Saturday.
It wasn't on Crime Stoppers, I'll tell you that.
I was just checking, exactly. I could be on TV for any number of reasons, but that was a good one. Yeah, exactly. That was our 50th celebration of the Carroll Eclipse last Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, last Saturday.
Well,
yeah.
and we had a great race. Delacroix, Rain O'Brien and Ryan Moore pulled the race out of the fire, and the crowd went mad. It was great atmosphere. But it seems a long time ago now.
Well, we're hoping that we'll have a great atmosphere in this Club World Cup final. Chelsea taking on PSG, Simon.
Yeah, just listen to the preview just now. I mean, it's you're making it sound incredibly tough for Chelsea, and the odds kind of say that. I mean, given it's a final, PSG are 4-6 to win in 90 minutes. The draw's 3-1. Chelsea are the outsiders, as you'd expect, at 4-1. And just to lift the trophy, whether it's by extra time penalties or whatever, it's 1-3 PSG, 2-1 Chelsea, which I must admit, actually, listening to the way you're talking about PSG and how hard they are to beat makes Chelsea look quite a short price. You feel it would be a bigger shot than 2-1 if Chelsea were to lift the trophy. Do you think, Cass, now?
Yeah, look. Of course, I want Chelsea to get the better of PSG, but it's a big ask because they're an exceptional side. But this has been a really good tournament, hasn't it, for Chelsea? They've, had some good results, and they've grown. They've also done transfers while they've been away. They could even get a transfer to play in the game. Pedro. That's extraordinary in itself.
And for them, for him to, on his first start, score a double.
And a great double.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Getting up to speed as quick as he's done. That's perhaps the beauty of this tournament, in the sense that they have been able to get these players in and just bed them in straight away, like Liam Delap likewise.
The interesting thing as well, if you look at their relative, PSG, I don't think we're betting on the French League for next season. We will, but there'll be about 10s on PSG, whereas Chelsea are 12-1 for the Premier League behind Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. So it sort of tells you a bit about their relative positions, like you've just described. And Chelsea were the European Conference League winners playing the Champions. It's not exactly the Super. It was the old Super Cup, wasn't it? It's not quite the Super Cup, but as I say, so the side which is making the progress of Chelsea and PSG are the established greats at the moment. So I think it'll be a great match to watch. And I'm kind of rooting for Chelsea and Maresca. I think he's done a great job, the manager.
Yes. So where do you want to go next? We've got the Women's Euro, so we might as well stay there because there's England are playing tonight against Wales.
Yeah, but look, they're long odds on favourites. It's vaguely, hypothetically, microscopically possible Wales could somehow pull off a win that gets them through to the next round. I don't think it's going to happen. It's 10-1 on England. The draw is 10-1. That would be a shock in itself, and it's 20-1 Wales. It's probable England will qualify in second unless Netherlands can beat France. They're playing at the same time. It's the final group games, and Netherlands are 4-1, France 4-5. But interestingly enough, long term, England are now back to being second favourites to win the tournament after that loss to France. They've come back well. It's 10-11 Spain, 4-1 England, and 11-2 France. We're expecting a good win tonight, probably. Maybe rest of change a few players, and then it gets serious as they get into the knockouts.
Yeah, certainly so. And that one is on talkSPORT 2. tonight as the Club World Cup final is on talkSPORT if you want to tune into that one. Again, kicking off at 8. The Wimbledon final. Now, we were looking ahead to the women's final yesterday. No one would have predicted the scoreline, 6-love, 6-love. Can't see a similar thing happening in the men's, albeit that they have to win in 3. But how are you seeing Sinner against Alcaraz? I mean, we were treated to an incredible final at the French Open. Hopefully we'll have something similar.
Yeah, I think we do. We hope so, don't we? I mean, this is the big two, really. I mean, I know, Djokovic had a lot of people rooting for him, age 38, but I think age just is catching up with him. Sinner was too strong for him. Sinner was a bit lucky against Dimitrov, who had to pull out and 2 sets love up. But he's a machine. And this really, I find I've suddenly popped up on my social media this morning to remind me of the Nadal-Federer rivalries. And, it is terrible as you get older. You think, oh, God, will we ever see anything like that again? But I suppose this Sinner versus Alcaraz is the new guard, isn't it? And the betting can't split them. 5-6 Sinner, 5-6 Alcaraz. I'm hoping we're in for a thriller after yesterday's relative disappointment with the women's final. 3-2 Sinner would be 9-2. For Alcaraz to win 3-2, 5-set thriller, that's 9-2. And in many ways, I think that's what we want to see. We want to be gripped by another one of these 4-hour classics, which these finals can throw up. But do you have a personal favourite, you two, who you'd like to see win? You always feel that maybe Alcaraz is the popular one and Sinner the villain of the piece. Maybe I don't know why, but what do you think, guys?
Yeah, it's Alcaraz for me. I'm not going to lie. I think he's brilliant. I love watching him. And, Yannick Sinner, don't get me wrong, what he's done for Italian tennis is brilliant. They are going through a renaissance, aren't they, in Italy? But, I'm all rooting for Alcaraz.
Yeah, I'll go Sinner then. I'll be a Sinner. Let's get to the cricket, because it is so perfectly poised, isn't it, Simon?
What a test series this is. 1-1. England, I mean, amazing they managed to bowl India out for exactly the same score. So it all started again, all level. Some tension last night. You love that in sport, don't you? A bit of heat. And listen to the betting now. With 2 days to go, nothing in it. 7-4 England, 7-4 the draw, 15-8 India. All 3 results, practically the same price. And the only thing you'd say, Cass, Nat, is England just don't know how to draw. So you sort of feel that even though the draw in theory with 2 days to go should be a player, you sort of think, God, England will just somehow make this into, a win or a loss, So I don't know which way it's going to go, but it's going to be exciting. I mean, have you been watching much of the cricket over the last few days? I think it's been. I've watched
a bit of it, and it's really intriguing. I mean, because at one point India looked firm favourites, didn't they, to win, and it changed pretty quickly and dramatically.
Yes, we'll hope for some more. I understand it's great. Listen, Test cricket's having its own renaissance. You're talking about renaissance, and is in great. So the only thing, a lot of focus on the lack of the slow play, isn't it? You're not quite getting your money's worth each day. But I think that's. But geez, it's been extremely hot the last 3 days. So you can sort of forgive them. But what it lacks in maybe sort of quantity, you're certainly getting loads of quality.
Yeah, very much so. Simon, brilliant. Thank you.
Have a lovely day. Stay cool.
Same to you as well. That was Simon Clare from Carroll. It's 18 and over. BeGambleAware.org. Please do gamble responsibly.
The Carroll Daily Download on talkSPORT with Carroll. We're here for it. 18+, BeGambleAware.org.
Okay, on the way next, we will continue, by the way, in the show to look ahead to the Lionesses final group game as they take on Wales. We'll have more on that Club World Cup final and bring you a Chelsea perspective as well. But on the way next, as we've always been doing here on a Sunday recently, we'll bring you our newest musical guest.
Lost in the blue lights. Lost in the blue lights. Lost in the blue lights.
This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Tony Cascarino, the former Republic of Ireland striker, and me, Natalie Sawyer. We're with you until 10, and right now you're hearing Blue Light by Felix Ross, and I'm pleased to say Felix is here in the studio with us. Morning to you, Felix.
Hi, Felix. Morning. Thanks for having me on the show.
How are you this morning?
Very well. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Well, normally when we get someone come in, they look at it and say 8:30, and we don't have any sympathy for them at all because they sort of think that they're up really early. In comparison to us.
Natalie was saying she's up at 3 this morning, so yeah.
I know. It's very rare that my alarm wakes me up, and I just thought I'm going to get out of bed. It was also really hot, wasn't it? So just not pleasant. But look, that was Blue Light that we were just hearing there. This is your new single that's out now, which is fabulous. And I was reading about it, and it's quite an emotional song that you've really sort of got into your own sort of personal experiences. So just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I wanted to write something that it's about feeling disconnected in a time when we're more connected than ever, through social media and through sort of technology. And I just wanted to challenge myself a little bit with my writing for this next batch of songs and what I say, because I've got a lot of songs about heartbreak and loss, but I get enough of that as a Spurs fan as it is. So, so it's about my experience.
That's a record deal, isn't it? That one, free album.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a life's work there.
So obviously emotions and feelings and
there's a lot about my experience with mental health and things with my dad there, and so I just wanted to challenge myself really and write something that felt really fresh for me.
So you said with your dad, did you just what has that experience been? Just difficult times of
just difficult times there. But funnily enough, he used to work in football actually. But as I was telling you before I came on, he used to work at the jumbo screen at White Hart Lane. So hence why we're all Spurs fans. And Yeah.
I imagine, and we'll come on to Tottenham if you don't mind in a bit. But I imagine when you are writing these songs about personal experiences, that we've talked about this before, but it's quite cathartic. It's quite helpful to do that, to be able to write things out, a way of sort of processing things.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been my therapy, always, and it's an amazing thing to be able to do and go through something and turn it into something positive through song, so it's very special.
See, I come from a generation of where you would always hide behind and you keep quiet, you wouldn't say too much. And as I've got older and I listen to younger people, and I think there's a lot of hope there because they are not afraid. We hide behind it because it's deemed, oh, come on, man up, you got to do this. But it's actually quite different. And listen to through my children as well, listen to how they talk, and they're far more open and prepared to talk. And it seems to work for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's getting healthier and healthier, I think, which is really, really lovely to see, I think, for my generation and, even the younger generation. I think it's good that, there's talk between fathers and sons and that kind of thing, because that's how I think you move on and learn from it. So
it's different. It's very different. And I'd be a big fan now because I just think that there is so much that's unsaid. And then one day it is said and it could be too late.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very much so. I mean, I've got a 14-year-old son, and we're always openly talking about feelings and emotions because I think it is very vitally important that everybody is in touch with their own feelings and able to verbalise it as well. So let's verbalise being a Spurs fan. Felix,
how long have you got?
You mentioned obviously this is a family thing.
Can we get some tissues in, please?
Do you know what? It's not all doom and gloom. You've won a trophy.
We have won a trophy. Bar that, obviously. I mean, it was a whirlwind of a season. I mean, I think I was ashamed to see Ange go because I think if he stayed on, we could have won the Champions League and got relegated from the Prem in the same season.
That would be a feat, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so I could see it happening. But
how to put a positive and a negative slant together?
Well, that's Spurs view.
That's two completely different ends of the spectrum, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, I went to Spurs probably 4 or 5 times last year, and it was a roller coaster ride. I see them be brilliantly good, and I've seen them be awful.
Yeah.
You know, I saw them get absolutely torn apart by Liverpool at home. I saw you beat West Ham 4-1.
Yes.
And I just came away and I couldn't get any logic out of the idea of this is the only way they can play.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would say
you experienced that with Brentford when they tactically changed that.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I'm a Brentford fan.
Okay.
Right. So we have beef now because
Yes,
you've obviously taken Thomas Frank and a few others. But yeah, I was so surprised in the game that when you came to the G-Tech that you did play a very different style of football. It wasn't because I'm there thinking we're going to get him behind, we're going to cause all sorts of problems to this, very attacking Tottenham. But you weren't like that at all. And I was scratching my head thinking, I don't get it. Why are you doing this to us? Don't do it to us. Let us win this one. But anyway, yeah.
Well, they done the double over you.
And all right. Crikey. Do you want to make it worse for me? But you're right. They did. They didn't do many doubles, but they did do the double over us.
Three doubles they did. Manchester United,
said
Southampton, and Brentford.
Yeah, we'll say what it's. It's always drama, which is entertaining.
Yeah,
not always for the best. But.
So what does that mean then for this season? You've got Thomas Frank now in charge, and Mohamed Kudus has come in.
Yes, I've just seen a video of him and Mickey van der Ven sat opposite each other.
They had beef.
Oh yeah, so that's a little bit worrying, but hopefully they get on. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a big start for Thomas Frank. Yeah, I think. With looking at how PSG are doing right now, I've had some mates that are Spurs fans saying, well, we probably shouldn't televise this. I mean, this is going to be an absolute battering. But, we could score in the first minute and then lose 5-1, but we'll see.
So you'll have 1 minute of joy.
Exactly.
But it is bizarre, isn't it? Thomas Frank's first game in charge officially, apart from the pre-season game. PSG in a Super Cup final. It's quite a big demand.
Yeah.
But that being said, what are your expectations going into the new season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting exciting football, that's for sure, which is nice because there was a period of time where we had sort of different managers and we weren't playing that exciting football. And I think to place higher than we did this season in the league would be great. I mean, that's not a big ask.
No.
But, and just seeing us play Champions League football would be a lot of fun, So, yeah, it's going to be an exciting season, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I mean, Natalie's experienced the Thomas Frank, effect of Brent and what he had on Brentford. And if he can achieve that and make some really big signings, which they're attempting to do,
yeah,
man, I would be way more optimistic as Spurs because I don't think you can have a model that is just one-dimensional. I think football's very flexible in ideas of how you play, and the very best are looking at every team every week, and you have to be able to adapt to certain sides.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
which Thomas Frank I think will do.
He
That's certainly what he did with us.
He did that with Brentford numerous times.
Yeah, very much.
You didn't play the same way every time.
No, it all depended
way.
on the opposition. Sometimes we'd sit back, but sometimes we'd go out and attack. So, I imagine he'll try and implement a similar sort of way, perhaps more attacking than what he was doing with Brentford. But especially when we came up into Premier League, we had to change our style of play because what got us up was never going to keep us up.
Right.
But last season we were a bit more adventurous, and that's what he said. It might have taken a bit of time, but we needed to do that. We needed to play a certain way to retain our Premier League status, and then last season was slightly different. But it's no longer about Thomas Frank anymore.
Touchy subject.
It's still raw. Felix, you've got your guitar, so tell us what you're playing for us.
I'm going to play Blue Light.
Yes, wonderful.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, when you are ready, please do start.
Thanks, guys. What's it all about? Turn on, tune in, drop out. I'm so sick of living online. The emptiness, the nothingness that hits you between the eyes and keeps you up at night. That's no life. That's no life. Get
get up and go outside. Gotta break a few bones to feel alive. Get caught so deep you can see inside, just to find out how you're wired. Another young gun that's never been fired, out of touch and uninspired. That's no life. Lost in the blue lights. 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 While my father's playing fetch with the black dog, I can't cut through the clouds of his spark. With a mind like mine, I was dead in the water. Heaven knows I wasn't much of a talker. I haven't seen him in so long. I'm scared he's already gone. It'll go wrong till it goes right. Lost in the blue lights. 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 We all get lost in the lights sometimes. We all get lost and that's alright. When every day gets harder and harder, hold your breath and jump in the water. Are you lost in the blue lights? 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 Lost in the blue lights.
Fabulous stuff. Fabulous.
Thank you, guys.
I got to ask you,
Stunning.
did you write them words yourself?
Yeah.
Well, really great writing.
Yeah.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
when you said the line of, I think it was in the cloud, and then your dad's in the fog.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The black dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, some really.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Very,
Felix.
Just for people that want to hear you more, obviously
Sure.
they can find you on all the usual social media
it's just
platforms and
At Felix Makes Noise on all the.
Felix makes noise. Okay, I like that. But any tours coming up that people can
Yeah,
find out
so
about?
we're going on tour in October, UK tour, and we're playing in London on the 10th of October. And The Garage, that's right, yeah. Biggest headline show to date, so
amazing.
yeah, it's going to be good fun.
Yeah,
Looking forward
good.
to it.
Well, that was great. That was really great stuff.
Really,
was.
really stunning. And we do appreciate you coming in this early
Well,
morning.
thank you for having
we
us,
always
yeah.
say it's never easy, I'm sure, for any of you to get up this early and actually then expected to sing as well.
It's
So
all good, yeah.
Don't lose
Thank
that
you.
smile.
I'll try not to. See how this season goes.
That is Felix Ross, so do check him out. And on the way next, we'll talk about the Lionesses as they head into their final group game, looking to secure the victory they want to make it to the knockout rounds of the Euros. You're tuning into the Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT with Crockenhill's finest. That's Tony Cascarino. He is with me, Natalie Sawyer. We're with you until 10. And here are some of your headlines today. Iga Swiatek ruthlessly took advantage of Amanda Anisimova's nerves to win her maiden Wimbledon title and inflict the heaviest women's final defeat at the All England club in more than a century after winning it with a double bagel. 6-love, 6-love. Rory McIlroy says he is now close to his Masters winning form after putting himself in prime position for another Scottish Open title with an imposing third round 66 to share the lead heading into today's final round. And England take on Wales tonight in the Women's Euros. A win for the Lionesses will see them qualify for the quarterfinals and potentially face Sweden, depending on the result as well between the Netherlands and France. Here's what the Lionesses head coach Sarina Wiegman had to say about the game.
We have our own preparation and we know also what's on the line, and we're going to do everything to win the game because we want to get through. There's always pressure on England, but we make it to expectations. We expect from ourselves that we're going to play a good game, and that's what I just said, that we are tight on the ball and we let the ball move, and hopefully we have the ball a lot and we can exploit spaces.
OK, well, let's bring you more then on this game. Delighted to say joining us and part of our commentary team for this one, it is the former England striker Tash Dowie. Tash, good morning to you. How are you doing today?
Good morning, guys. Very well. Morning.
Great to have you with us, and how great it is for England to be coming into a game after such a fabulous performance against the Netherlands, righting the wrongs that they made in that opening defeat to France.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a different performance, wasn't it? And you almost feel guilty sometimes questioning Sarina. Did she get it right? Questioning the players, because then they put on a performance like that. But I think the most frustrating thing as an England fan is why? Why was there such a big difference in the two performances? Why can't they do that more consistently? And I think probably the last 7 or 8 games that's been the case. So hopefully they can put on another performance like they did last game. You're only as good as your last game. And if that is the case, then they're going to be too strong for Wales.
Yeah, well, it's always a case that the opening game of any tournament is a little bit of edginess within the team. And also they were up against France. And France are clearly one of the firm favourites of the tournament.
Yeah, they are. They're fantastic. I've actually got them reaching the final. I think this could be their year to reach their first final. But they're so good. But I think England really were poor. I mean, normally you have 1 or 2 players that have a bad performance. But I think apart from Lauren James, I've never seen the whole team play that bad before. So, yeah, hopefully it was just a bad day at the office. And like I said, the response under pressure, which this England team always seemed to do, was magnificent. And in my opinion, I think the Wales team will put up more of a fight than the Dutch team. So I think it's actually going to be a tough game tonight.
Oh, well, that is interesting, and not what Lionesses fans want to hear, Tash, because obviously there is still a job to be done for England to make sure that they do get out of this group stage. And just in terms of Wales, this is, of course, their first major tournament. They scored their first ever goal in that defeat to France last time out, and it fittingly was the Wales legend Jess Fishlock that got it as well. But what have you made of Wales throughout this tournament?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I actually expected a little bit more. Right. But then actually listening to the press conference yesterday with Rhian Wilkinson, who I just think speaks magnificently. I could listen to her all day. I think she's brilliant. She said, you know, you've got to remember where they've come from and, you know, the kind of nation that they are and the pool of players that they've got to select from. And for them, they're kind of celebrating the small victories. And actually from someone that's played the game when I've worked and played, to kind of think about the last 10 years and how quick the women's game has developed. You know, sometimes they're not here just to make up numbers, but also you've got to realise the gulf is massive. You know, half of their squad are playing championship football, not even top tier football. All 3 of the keepers don't even play at club level. So I think for them to even get here is a magnificent achievement. To score their first goal in a Euros, magnificent achievement. And I love that. And I'm telling you now, the last thing they'll want is for England to go through. So they will be putting everything on the line to stop that happening tonight.
Well, Tash, you were just saying, as you were speaking, I'm thinking, Wales are going to really want to hurt England, you know, just because if it's in any sport, you know, if it's in the Women's Euros, it's in rugby, it's in, you know, I played for Republic of Ireland. Playing England was a big thing. And England were always put in a pedestal and loads of countries, Scotland, Wales, not, you know, Republic of Ireland, France, want to put their noses in it because England are blessed with a huge depth of talent in any sport.
No, you're spot on. And I know firsthand just how much they want to beat them. I played with pretty much the whole of the Welsh squad at Reading, at Liverpool, the likes of Rachel Rowe, Rhiannon Roberts, Jess Fishlock, to name a few, Lily Woodham. And I just know how much, and that's no disrespect to what they want to achieve as well. They want to put on a good performance for their fans. But deep down, I saw in Ankhad James's face yesterday at the presser when they said to her, just how much would it mean? She almost went to go and say something and then remembered where she was and put her media head back on and answered the question politically correct. But you could tell she wanted to go all out tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a really aggressive game. And to be honest, Serena Wiegman actually said that's exactly what they don't want it to become. They want it to be more possession-based and not become a fight. But I think that'll be the opposite for the Wales team.
How important then is someone like Lauren James in a game like tonight if we expect her to start, which I'm sure many of us do, considering how well she's started this tournament, and bear in mind the injury issues she's had, and some were surprised perhaps that she had started some of these games, considering, as I say, those injuries, but she's done brilliantly so far.
Oh, I mean, she's just an absolute joy to watch. I played against her and absolutely hated it, so it's much nicer to watch her in the stand as a fan. But we talk about this world class. It's thrown out too much, in my opinion. I think the England squad have some top players, but she is world class. She is the difference maker. She is a Bon Mati for the Spanish team, a Putellas. She's that good. And I think, if anything, Wales would be happy to see her not start. I'm actually interested to see how Serena goes about this, because does she start her with regards to, like you said, with the injury issue? Does she maybe actually give her a rest and look to bring her on the last 30 minutes? I think they've managed her really well. I think Chelsea have managed her really well coming into this tournament, and they need to just wrap her in cotton wool, because she is going to be the big reason why England go on and win this.
Tash, you've obviously watched a lot of the women's Euros and different teams. Are you impressed by the Spanish? I mean, obviously they played the Italians, so that they are the obvious dangers. Have they impressed you like you already thought before the tournament started?
Yeah, absolutely. I think their goals, I'm surprised with actually how good form Putellas has been in. I think probably coming back from her ACL, it's taken a little bit of time. Everyone's been speaking about Bon Mati, and obviously she got her illness before the tournament. But Putellas, for me, has been absolutely magnificent. Gonzalez as well, top goal scorer. I look at lots of teams and I see weaknesses in certain teams, but this Spanish team, I really struggle to find a weakness.
Now, I know obviously it's out of England's hands in terms of what might happen should they get the result and then France get the result in terms of the group situation. But obviously finishing runner-up feels as though it might be a better route through to the final than finishing as winners, because the winners will face Germany, and then, as we would expect, Spain will get through against Switzerland, as we'd expect, in the semi-finals. As I say, you can't really plot it because we don't know what's going to happen tonight. But in terms of a quarter-final opponent, Sweden or Germany, what would be better?
Watching the game last night, I mean, I know Germany had a player sent off early doors, so you couldn't really assess it too much, but both teams look strong. I actually think Sweden looked the stronger of the two. Everyone that I've spoke to have said that they would prefer to face Sweden and not Germany, probably because of the added rivalry. But if you look at potentially that route to the semi-final and then maybe getting a Norway or an Italy in a semi-final, for me, that is a great tie and kind of run in. And because in my opinion, I think Norway have actually been quite poor, even though they won their first 3 games. Italy have been my dark horse. I actually, having played at AC Milan and I know a lot of the players, I really thought Italy would do well this tournament. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. But I also know Serena and the squad, they'll just want to face anyone. You know, people are talking about trying to avoid Spain. It was the same as in the group of death. They just said whoever they're coming up against, they fancy themselves to win, and that's why they're the reigning champions.
Yeah, very much so. Okay, then, tell us what's going to happen tonight. Got to put you on the spot, Tash. I've got to do it.
I know, it's tough as well because my partner, she's actually a scout for the Wales women's national team. So it's kind of like that half. But I think, well, first of all, England are going to win. I mean, in my opinion, that's going to be the case. And it depends what England turn up. If it's the England against the Dutch, I think it could be maybe a 4-0, quite a comfortable victory. If it's the England against the French team, then it's going to be a much tighter game, potentially a 1-2-0, very edgy. But I think off that last performance, I'm going to go with a 3-0 to England.
Brilliant.
3-0.
Well, enjoy it. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
That is the former England striker Tash Dowie, who is part of our commentary team for this one then in St Gallen. England taking on Wales. Joe Shannon is there, as is the former Wales assistant coach Rhiannon Skinner too. You can tune in to talkSPORT 2 for that one. Kickoff is at 8. On the way, we're heading into the final hour of the show. We're going to talk more about the Club World Cup final, bring you a Chelsea perspective. But next, we'll talk the British and Irish Lions, who had an impressive victory yesterday ahead of the first test with Australia next weekend.
For every good signing a club makes, there's bound to be a few that don't work out. And Man United have certainly had their fair share of those, especially since the end of their golden age under Sir Alex Ferguson. Here are just some of the Red Devils' worst signings since Fergie. First up, Alexis Sanchez. Sanchez joined United from Arsenal back in 2018 and became the highest paid player in the Prem. He'd averaged almost 1 goal every 2 games for the Gunners, but in his 45 games for Man United, he only managed 5 goals. Not what you want from a star striker. Next up, Radamel Falcao. He earned himself the nickname the Tiger for his sheer efficiency and the way he used to pounce upon the mistakes of defenders. But at Man United, he was way more pussycat than Tiger, to be honest. All he managed in 29 Man United games was 4 goals. Moving on, things couldn't have gone much worse for Jadon Sancho at Man United. Yeah, it would have been hard to outdo his Borussia Dortmund form, but 12 goals in 83 games is not great. Things got worse after a public fallout with manager Erik ten Hag. Sancho said he was being made a scapegoat. Ten Hag said there'd been a discipline issue. It all ended up with Sancho going back to Germany. Next, Erik ten Hag probably thought he was being smart in sticking to what he knew when he signed Antony from his former club Ajax. But the £86 million Brazilian hasn't really been able to hack it in the Prem. Chances are Antony's Man United days are numbered. Next, the curse of the Man United number 7 shirt. Not an easy act following Ronaldo, Cantona, Beckham and George Best, but Memphis Depay was another striker who was apparently allergic to scoring for United. He scored just 7 in 53 appearances, a huge letdown since he'd helped PSV win the Dutch league just a season before joining. Last one, Angel Di Maria was set to be United's landmark signing when he joined in 2014, but 1 season later he was already on his way out. 4 goals in 32 games was just not good enough, given he'd broken the British record transfer fee when he signed. And those are just a few examples. To be honest, the list could go on and on. Unfortunately, that's probably why Man United haven't won the Prem for a while, and why it might take a few more years before they're in contention again.
Good morning. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it's the former Millwall and Gillingham striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning, everybody.
Thank you very much for tuning in to this final hour of the show. The British and Irish Lions had their final warm-up game in Adelaide. You can say that again. In Adelaide yesterday, before their first test against Australia next weekend. Here's how the action sounded on talkSPORT yesterday.
The Lions are taking that line out quickly, and it goes to Duan van der Merwe, who scores. Well, that was almost barbarian rugby from the Lions themselves. Lions have got a penalty here, Batches. They're not going to need it because Ben White's going to pick and go from the base of the ruck and go in under the post, untouched. What a start Ben White has had. Good hands from Tui Pilotu to Finn Smith. It's Hansen out to the left-hand side. Duan van der Merwe for the left-hand corner. He scores.
Well, they're playing freely, the Lions. Really nice play.
Tui Pilotu comes crashing through. Lions have another try, and the Scotland dominate the scoreboard.
Some boos in the background. It means it is the introduction of Owen Farrell onto his fourth Lions tour. An exceptional achievement for him.
Ben Earl goes into contact. Ben White, Cummings goes over and scores a try. It's another Scotland try. Keenan puts the ball into Duan van der Merwe's hands. Van der Merwe has a hat-trick. 36-0 the Lions lead. And the Lions go quickly, and Ronan Kelleher's gone over and scored in the left corner. Henry Pollock's diving after this one. Henry Pollock is claiming a try.
I think that's a try.
Never has control of it, and Henry Pollock's left hand reaches around, pushes down on the ball, and Henry Pollock scores the try. And that is it. At full time, the Lions will head to Brisbane and the first test with a decent performance in their back pocket, and have a few of this side today played their way into Andy Farrell's thoughts for Brisbane. The Australia-New Zealand invitational side 0, British and Irish Lions 48.
Ooh, yeah, that was quite an afternoon for the Lions. It's time for us to bring you an update on the rugby in partnership with Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Don't let drips and dribbles get in the way of the life you lead or the sport you love. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
Pleased to say, joining us this morning then to look ahead to what is to come and look back on yesterday's result for the Lions. It's the former Australian back, Matt Gitto. Matt, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Matt.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys? You good?
Yeah,
yes, we're very, very well. Thank you very much for being with us. We were looking ahead to this game that took place yesterday and saying, this is going to be the toughest test for the Lions when you consider who might be playing in it. Didn't obviously work out that way in the sense of it was just one-sided.
Yeah, it was a bit underwhelming really here as well. At the stadium, I think obviously the Lions got out to 2 quick tries, and then it was almost like the atmosphere in the game kind of just went away. The Lions were, I think that's been their most complete performance, and not necessarily with their likely test lineup. So, yeah, I think they're starting to click. The way they played, they just totally dominated the Anzac team, and they just really never got a foot in that game, which is a credit to the Lions. I think they're now starting to understand how Andy Farrell wants to play, and they're all buying into it, and they're playing some great rugby.
Matt, how does it work that, what is it? It's an Australian-New Zealand mix of players. Obviously, they're top players, but they look like they haven't played together ever. And I'm sure some of them have.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard because those invitational games, they've been brought in, they've got 4 games to almost buy into the culture, learn plays, and you're not just playing against some mugs, you're playing against the best players from a combined 4 nations. So it was always going to be a tough ask. I think before the game, everyone had the understanding that this was going to be the hardest game for the Lions, but it turns out that, it actually wasn't. And a lot of that is because the Lions played super well. But then also on the flip side, I think a lot of the players are at the back end of a long year, and I think they were pretty tired. They once the game got away from them, it almost just became impossible for them to get back into it.
I mean, with a week to go heading into that game yesterday, you imagine Andy Farrell will have a good idea of the 15 that he wants to play against Australia in that first test. But from what you saw yesterday of that Lions team, is there anyone you think might have actually just put their hand up for a shout to make that starting team?
Well, I mean, it's hard because it's not like guys in his position haven't actually been performing well, but obviously Duhan van der Merwe, getting a hat-trick, that was big. I thought Sione Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones, the way they combined was impressive. Yeah. But then having said that, Ringrose and Bundyaki, the game before, combined super well as well. So I reckon Andy Farrell's going to know his team. He's going to know who he goes with. If it was me and looking at the centre combination, I probably wouldn't mix nations. So if I'm going to go with Bundyaki, then I'd go with Ringrose to kind of complement that. Or if I'm going to go Sione Tuipulotu, then I'd have Hugh Jones to complement him that way. So I think that's probably the one thing from these exhibition games that I've got. Like that centre pairing needs to be probably from the same country. For that, just the way they play and just the way they interact and the fluidity of the game works better, I think, when they pair that way.
Yeah. Look, when you get to obviously the big one, which is Australia, and the game starts, it's completely different. It's the friendlies, because that's what essentially these games are. Even though the Lions it was a rout in the end, but once you get up against Australia and they're head to head, it's a completely different format for the Lions, because they might have had it easy so far. They might be undercooked in some way. We don't know because they haven't been tested.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same for the Wallabies too. They don't know what they're up against. There's a sprinkling of players that are in the squad that actually have played the Lions in those exhibition games, but as a squad, we don't know what we're coming up against as well. So I think that first test, they'll obviously rip right in. They'll give it 100%. Obviously, their game plan is going to be top-notch. But that first one will be a real feel-out where you understand how teams defend, how they like to attack. And then that second game, obviously, they're going to evolve into that, hopefully, what's going to be the side of that third test.
Before we talk about an elephant in the room in just a moment, I just want to get your thoughts. Look at that smile. He's thinking, I know what's coming, but hang on. Just wait, Matt. What I wanted to ask you is, obviously Australian rugby has gone through a bit of a bad period when you consider some of the other sports that dominate, in particular in Australia. There is an Australian World Cup, Rugby World Cup, to look forward to in 2027. What I want to know is, because I'm always fascinated by this, the privilege to play for the Lions is massive. But what does it mean to take on the Lions? Because it doesn't come around very often, coming to Australia, because there are other Southern Hemisphere teams to take on as well. But what does it mean to take on the Lions?
Well, I think it's like a lot of players here, they've kind of said that it actually means more to them than a World Cup. Really? I've been involved in 2 World Cup finals. I played in a World Cup final with Willie Gagnon in 2015. And he was saying that the Lions series seemed bigger than a World Cup final. Wow. But just because you only get that opportunity, like I played professional rugby for 20 years, but I didn't play in one Lions series. So when I toured for Australia, it was 2002. They toured Australia 2001. When they came in 2013, I'd already signed to go to France. So these opportunities are rare and they're incredibly special. So this it does mean a lot to the group. And I think from a broader public, you're talking about trying to get rugby back on track. If we do well in this Lions series, it's such a great lead up into we've got the Men's World Cup in 2027, then the Women's World Cup in 2029. It's a great opportunity for us to grow the game and get it popular again.
Yeah. Well, you're going to do the elephant in the room then, aren't you?
Yeah, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, because it does seem as though there's a bit of a rift between you and fellow Aussie David Campese, who has been on talkSPORT a few times. He was on one of our shows, Matt, earlier this week, White and Jordan, where he had some comments to address that you have made. Let's hear what he had to say.
Talking about?
Matt Gitto.
Who's that?
103 caps for Australia.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I know who he is, yeah. So everyone's got an opinion, mate. I mean, I've got my opinion. He's got his opinion. I don't really care.
But you've got no problem with saying what you say and standing by what you say, even if someone who's won 100+ caps for Australia says, Campo, you're overstepping the mark here.
Well, I don't think I spoke to Matt Gitto. Last time I spoke to Matt Gitto was 2015, so I've got no idea where he is, what he's doing, and I don't really care. So that's my opinion, and I just, as I said, I chose him before he was going to get picked in the series, and he is picked. So at least I've got something right, haven't I?
Okay, Matt, we're not taking sides in this situation, but what is going on? Why are you both falling out with each other?
No, we're not. It's not a fallout. And I've got so much respect for Campo. I know the Campo, like how he said, you know, who's Makido or whatever. We're from the same area in Queanbeyan. There's David Camp, Easy Field. Like, he's a legend around our area. So I think my opinion was coming from what I believe the best position, because I think David Campese is one of our greatest Wallabies. Yeah, he should be remembered that way, not remembered for these silly comments potentially that he may make for a headline. But yeah, I'm not interested in going back and forth. Like, Campo's got his opinion. I've got mine. I've got a lot of respect for him as a footballer, but he was wrong about one thing, because in Hong Kong, I've caught up with Campo a few times. So the last time we saw, we would have been maybe 2018, 2019. So that's where. But it is what it is. This is just small things. I don't want it to derail the Lions series. Everything's about positivity, rugby, growing the game, getting it popular again in Australia. And that's kind of where I was coming from. It's just like more around highlighting the good things in our game than the negative things.
Yeah, he has had a lot of negativity towards Australian rugby right now. And Joe Schmidt as well has come under fire. Bear in mind, he's a New Zealander and not an Australian. But look, we won't carry on. We'll end that there. But before we let you go, Matt, and I know we haven't really talked about Australia and how you feel they are coming into this one, although a little bit of an unknown, I suppose. What's this darts event that you're involved in with Rugby Legends?
So I just finished. Unfortunately, there were 4 teams. So we pair up with a professional darts player, as myself, Justin Harrison, Simon Shaw, Drew Mitchell. Unfortunately, Drew Mitchell won, which stings me because he's a great mate, but he'll brag for a long time. And it was basically what you see on Sky News, 180, and the crowd's around having a few beers. We're just kind of... We're into that. So I've just come from the event. I got 3rd, so wasn't last.
Right. But it's not bad, yeah.
It's something. Yeah.
Did you hit a few 180s, or we're not that good yet?
No, definitely not that good. So I hit plenty of 8s, plenty of 12s. I think my high score might have been a 70. So I jagged a 70 at one point.
That's all right. We'll take a 70.
Yeah, that's right.
Is darts your thing, or is that your first? You know, do you normally play darts?
No, I quickly learned it's not my thing. It's definitely not my thing. So there was nowhere to hide. So once I threw that first dart, I realised, all right, this sport's not for me, but I've got to hang in there now for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it was a tough carry, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's such a precise sport. You know, you look at it and you think you've got a tiny little rectangle thing that you're trying to get 60 points from. You know, it's a real tough one, darts. It's so precise. That's why I get frustrated with golf, because golf is incredibly precise as well.
Yeah, well, this one, I'd throw it and I release it, I'm sure, exactly the same place that I threw it or released it the one before, and it goes to the right. It's more frustrating than golf. It was a tough one, but a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, brilliant. And what's happening with you these days? Are you retired? Because I know you came back out of retirement, played in America for a brief spell.
Yep. Yeah, no, the wife made sure. She's thrown all my boots away. I'm retired. I'm done. Just do a podcast with 2 other Wallabies and James Rochford called Kick-Offs and Kick-Ons, and that's kind of keeps us connected still to the game, and I kind of enjoy that side of things.
Good.
Brilliant. Thanks for being with us, Matt. It's been great to talk to you.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Australian legend Matt Giteau joining us to talk about the Lions, and that first test, of course, that's coming up next weekend, which will be live on talkSPORT. You'll be able to tune into that. But that was all thanks to Tenor Men.
Qatar Airways Lions Tour Roundup on talkSPORT with coverage sponsored by Tenor Men. Don't let drips and dribbles get in the way of the life you lead or the sport you love. Find out more at tenormen.co.uk.
He plays that villain role very well now. It's crying out for a little bit more attention. It comes with a lot of crazy people. I took it personally and it kind of made me rebel a bit more. To be honest, I don't really care anymore. I'm never going to change.
Tuning into the Weekend Sports Breakfast this Sunday morning. We're live on your radio, YouTube and smart TV. It is Tony Cascarino, the former Aston Villa striker, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. And do you know what? On Thursday. What day was it? Thursday. It was Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
I went out for lunch and then I was very lucky to be invited to celebrity chef Aldo Zilly's sort of menu launch of the new restaurant that he has linked up with, Elaine's, which we've been fortunate to go to.
Yeah.
And it was very lovely, I must say. It's really worth going to. And while I was there, we got chatting, and Aldo, as some of you may know, is a Chelsea fan, and he was like, I've got to come on to talk about this Club World Cup final. So who better to join us then to talk about the Club World Cup final and Chelsea? It is Aldo Zilly. Aldo, how are you?
Buongiorno. How are you?
We're both good. Well. We're looking forward to tonight, Aldo, because, you know, PSG are clearly the best team, certainly in Europe at the moment. And it's a massive chance for Chelsea to prove a point of, you know, how much they've grown as a side.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a massive chance. And, I mean, we might just lose 1-0. You never know. But having been following PSG just lately, it is a slightly scary. But if we keep calm and he plays, you know, a good back line, my only concern, to be fair, tonight is playing from the back with Sanchez, because he's not very good at playing from the back. Let's put it that way. He's not very, you know, he does make a lot of mistakes. So if they avoid that, we have a much better chance, I think. Tony, you know that we shouldn't really be going into the new season with Sanchez anyway. But you know, he has saved us quite a lot last year, but he's also made a lot of mistakes. I don't want to say too much more about the goalkeeper, but we should have invested in a goalkeeper by now.
Yeah. I think that will happen. I think that's quite clear. It's timing and who's available, and obviously you're speaking on behalf of nearly every Chelsea fan who recognises that a goalkeeper is a massive issue at the club.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't have a, you know, I think we're very strong. We're not. I mean, what he's putting out tonight, by the looks of it at the moment, you know, he's got Enzo, he's got Caicedo fit, he's got Neto, Palmer, Pedro, and Dillap. I mean, he's starting with a very, very strong team. So, well, why wouldn't you anyway? Against PSG, well, it would be a disaster if he didn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I am so nervous. I can't even speak to you. I'm not just a Chelsea fan. I'm obsessed.
So tell us then, how do you deal with your nerves, Aldo?
I just had a couple of espressos, so that's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do, because now I feel all jittery. And you know, it's the weight, isn't it? It's I don't even understand our players can wait all day. I don't know what they're going to do today. You know, now between 9 and 8 o'clock, thank God that there's a lot of sport on today. So at 4 o'clock, I'll be watching the tennis, and again another Italian. So I'm nervous about that. You know, and then the women's football, which I actually been following quite a lot. And Italy is come out as a surprise for me as well on that respect.
Yeah, they're through to the quarterfinals. Yeah,
Aldo, I can tell you what the players will be doing. They'll be resting, eating, and basically preparing with a final meeting before the match. You do very little on a day to have a game. You might have a stroll, go out for a walk, and that's about it.
Do they even care?
Oh, they'll care. They'll care about tonight. They
probably can't wait for this to be over to go on holiday, I think.
Well, that's something that Mark Cucurella has said. He's looking forward to some family time. Do you care? Do you care about this competition, Aldo?
Do I care about this competition? I've been watching every single minute. I even came to talkSPORT to watch it with. You did. With Candy, you know, it's like, yes. What do you mean? Do I care? It's the Club World Cup before the competition.
But did you
Nobody
care
gave
about
us a
it?
chance.
Did you care about it when it was the previous sort of tournament of the Club World Cup? Did you care before about it?
No, this year, for some reason, it's gripped me.
Because you're in the final.
Yeah, but maybe that, actually.
And a lot of money.
To be fair, you know, I didn't give Chelsea much of a chance on this, but we have had a fairly straightforward route to the final. Yeah, I mean, you know, the last game, I was jumping up and down, and now tonight... if we get a result tonight, well, what can I say? You know, we beat the best team in the world. So I think Maresca will deserve to be considered as one of the best, if not the best, manager in England.
So, Aldo, how did you become a Chelsea fan? Because you're an Inter fan, aren't you?
I'm an Inter fan, yeah.
So
but
where did the love of Chelsea? How did you be adopted by the club, or you adopted them?
Well, yeah. When I moved to London, I think it's when the Italian, when it became the only Italian team in the league. You know, when all the Italian players start coming in and the managers and it's been a journey that I can't even. I was a member of the Chelsea club. You know, I used to go to the gym there. When Abramovich took over, well, what can I say? We as Chelsea fans absolutely adored him. More his money than him, to be fair. Then, you know, Gianfranco Zola, Vialli, I started meeting them. I had restaurants in Soho, so people start coming for dinner at my restaurant. And I'm being a football fanatic ever since I was probably born. You know, my brother, the priest, me and him actually used to pray when Inter played the night before. And then all through the game, we prayed and Inter won. So it was like one of those things. I went to church the other day to pray for Chelsea because opposite the restaurant there's a Catholic church. So I prayed to my brother Pasquale, which died a few years ago, and for Chelsea to win tonight. So that's how I get by, really.
Do you know,
I know I sound a bit weird, but there you go.
Hey, we all have to do our things to hope that we can get that victory, certainly. Do you know, I was thinking of you yesterday, Aldo, because I was watching Live Aid, 40 years of Live Aid. It was being repeated on BBC Two.
So was I.
Yeah.
They had
it's been on this morning as well.
Yes, they had George Michael, they had Freddie Mercury, people that we saw. You have photo you showed us when we came to your restaurant not that long ago, photos of people that you used to hang out with.
Yeah, well, I was a rock and roll chef, and I at my age I still am, to be fair, as you saw the other night when you came to the launch of the menu. But it's something that I used to become friends with my customers, and for good or bad, I used to then, you know, go out with them after work and join them in clubs. And Freddie used to take us back to his house and play the piano for us. And I had to pinch myself. But in those days, to be fair, I didn't really realise how amazing these people were. You know, because I was this little young boy from a village in Italy coming to this country in the centre of London, meeting A-list celebrities all over the place, and I became a second thing to me. It wasn't really something that I'm like, oh wow, I'm with Freddie Mercury. You know, he used to sit on my lap, Melina, we had to call her, and I used to cook for him, and then he used to say, well, come back to mine. It was like a come back to mine. Hello, you know, come back to mine. This is Freddie Mercury, and then you know, all his friends would be there, and you wouldn't be allowed to leave. So I had to go to the fish market at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I had to sneak out the back door.
Well, I tell you what, you were living the life then, and you're still living the life now, Aldo. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Cheers, Aldo.
Natalie, what can I say? Tony and Natalie, you two are my favourite presenters on talkSPORT. Anyway, I work with all of them, and you are the best.
You're too kind. You're too kind. We will see you soon.
We'll send you the fee, Aldo.
when I do candy, I'll tell him he's the best.
Yeah, we know how you work. Don't worry. Right. Thank you, Aldo. Take care.
You.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
You'll be able to tune in to Chelsea against PSG. It's coming your way live here on talkSPORT. Kickoff is at 8.
shot! It's 4! What a performance from England!
How things can turn around so quickly in one game, and that's why we love this sport.
In Serena, we trust.
You saw today, so they wanted to bring that energy, and when you do get together and things work.
They were absolutely fantastic. They actually look like potential winners of the tournament, which is fantastic.
So we put on a dominant display today. We're in the right mindset, and yeah, we've turned up.
It will be a different game. Wales will bank up 5-4-1, look to hit England on the counter, make it as ugly as they possibly can.
Gary Holland into the penalty area, got a feet sorted, and it's in! And yes, Fishlock can celebrate!
On the roll over, we want to get a win, we want to finish this tournament on a high. Let's go for it, why not?
This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Thank you very much for joining us this Sunday morning. It is the former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino who is with me, Natalie Sawyer, and we're with you until 10. So, all eyes will be on St Gallen for this group game, the final group game in the Euros for England and Wales. We've already talked about the Lionesses and how we feel they will come into this game, and they do come into it off the back of a fantastic 4-0 victory over the Netherlands, taking on a Wales side that have lost their opening 2 games. But remember, this is their first ever major tournament. Delighted to say, joining us, it is the former Wales assistant coach, Rhian Skinner. Morning to you, Rhian. How are you?
Rhian?
Morning, good, thank you. How are you both?
Yeah, we're
very well, thank you. You know, it's an interesting one, this one, because as I mentioned, for Wales, they come into this having lost their first 2 games, but that France game, history was created by Jess Fishlock scoring that goal. I mean, these are kind of the moments that they've got to cherish, isn't it? Because it's the first ever major goal for the Wales women's team.
Yeah, absolutely. They've worked so hard to get to this point, and you know, it's such a tough test. You know, the Euros is not meant to be for the faint-hearted, and to get to this stage has been a really admirable achievement. You know, something they've been working towards for years, and for Jess Fishlock, I mean, 38 years old. I don't think she was too happy to be given the record of the oldest player to score in the tournament, to be honest. But you take it, that's how long she's been working for to be able to get to this point. I think she made a debut in 2006. You know, that's just such a significant career at international level. And I couldn't be more pleased, actually, that they got the goal. They gave France a tough test in spells as well, made it hard to break down. But I think just as the game went on, little bit of naivety. We saw it in the game before as well. Just some mistakes at some crucial times, but that's kind of the learning part of being at this stage for the first time.
Well, it was certainly, if you look at the first game when they the Netherlands and lose 3-0, you certainly saw progress, even though they lost to France 4-1. It felt like it was a much better, more complete performance.
Yeah, I totally agree, Tony. I mean, I think, you know, the first game's always tough, isn't it? You're in a new setting completely. There's a lot of, you know, there'll be anxiety, there'll be excitement, there'll be a lot of emotions going on that you're trying to manage. And I think, you know, I said when I was doing the commentary for the game, I think the team selection was right as well, though, if I'm honest. I think the players that were in key positions nullified, you know, France to a certain extent for big spells of the game as well. So I think they defended much more organised. They were more competitive in 1v1 situations that made it a little bit harder for France. And when they went forward, I thought they had more options. The change of shape helped them to just get more numbers in higher areas that led to sustaining attacks a little bit higher up the pitch, which they really struggled with against the Netherlands without really having much of an outlet to go forward. So improvements game on game. Let's see, you know, what they can now do against England.
And you know, as you say, it is England. It's a home nation rival. That adds a little bit of spice to it. And I'm sure so much of the team talk will be about upsetting the Lionesses, you know, maybe even ousting them from the tournament before the knockout stages as well, if other results go the way that Wales might want it to. They've never beaten a top 10 ranked nation. So if you were involved in this Wales squad right now, what would your message be to them?
I'm not sure how much they need ramping up for this, if I'm honest. I think, given that it's England, it's at the Euros, I think on the day, if I'm honest, I think it'd be much more of a message of, you know what you're here to do. It's just, we've planned, we've practiced, we know what the kind of game plan is for what we're trying to deliver. You have to control yourselves in the key moments to deliver and think clearly, because sometimes, and without the experience, like emotionally, some of your decisions can be quite rash. And I think we've seen that on a couple of occasions, and just diving in at difficult moments. Obviously, that's not going to be highlighted at this point going into this game, but it's just more of a, let's make sure we stay switched on at all times, because actually when we do, we're competitive, we stay in the game, we've made life difficult for people, and actually we're more effective when we're switched on. So don't let the emotions take over, because that could end up leading to some difficult decisions made again.
Yeah, it's always a tough one. The third game of the group phase, which is it could ultimately be your final game. So you could be packing up next day, going home and going wherever you or even on holiday. I always found that quite intriguing, because it really feels like it's nearly at the knockout stage anyway, and it's like a knockout game, because that's how you're going to be playing it from not just Wales but for many other teams in group third game scenario.
Yeah, it is, and obviously it's not impossible either, is it? Now, in some of the other groups, by the third game, by the time that's come around, you're already out. So actually, Wales have still got something to hold on to. We know there's a lot of factors, right, that have to go along with that for them to get through this group. But at the same time, it's an opportunity to go and just show what you're about, show what you've learned. Go and do it against England, because there's always that rivalry there. Whether England want to play that down or not, it's there. And so I think the biggest thing is give a really good account of yourself and show the progress that's been made. And you're still in it. You never know what might happen.
And I suppose also, theoretically, the pressure is all on England at the end of the day.
It is, yeah, it is. And I just think England have been there with that, haven't they? So at the moment, when we're talking about some of the decisions that Wales have made at key moments, and then you talk about the reaction from England after the Netherlands game, you can see the difference in experience in those and the capability there. So it might be pressure, but to be honest, they are thinking about it as a knockout game, as you've already outlined, Tony. Wales are thinking like that, but so are England. Ultimately, they have to win to get through. And so I think that's a key thing, that they'll show their experience, and the depth of the squad's obviously stronger. But they've been here before, and I think that's kind of the difference, really. You draw on those experiences to help you at these key moments.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Rhian, thank you for being with us today, and enjoy the game.
Thanks, Rhian.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can tune into talkSPORT 2 this evening to find out who, might win this game, or indeed how it all pans out in Group D, because actually all four teams have a chance of making it through to the knockout rounds. Obviously, slightly more difficult circumstances for Wales. They need a bit of a miracle with everything to go their way, and they have to beat England by at least 4 goals to sort of overturn the goal differences and everything like that comes into play. But what I should say is there is a likelihood that England, France and the Netherlands can all end up on 6 points, and then it will come down to the head-to-head results between those 3 nations to see who would go through. And by virtue of that, it would be England that would go through, having beaten the Netherlands 4-0. So that is just to cover that one off for you. But it should be intriguing nonetheless. And we should point out, as we said already, that this is the first ever major tournament for Wales. So it's been a fantastic learning experience, I'm sure, for many of those
scoring
young
their
players.
First goal.
Yeah, exactly. They've created history by being at this tournament, created history by scoring a goal. Who was that? The Wales legend that is Jess Fishlock, who has, I think, the most caps, the most goals for Wales. I mean, as Rhian was telling us, what was it, 2006 that she began her Wales career? I mean, that's incredible.
19 years ago.
Yeah, that's madness, isn't it? So yes, talkSPORT 2, that's your destination for that one. And on talkSPORT at the same time, you can tune into Chelsea against PSG. On the way, a little bit of Help Us Tony. very good morning to you. This is the Weekend Sports Breakfast. It's the former Marseille Nancy striker, Tony Cascarino, who is with me, Natalie Sawyer. We're with you until 10. Then you've got Sean Custis and Henry Winter to look forward to with the Sunday edition. It's time for a little bit of this.
What is the answer?
No debate from me. He's not telling the truth. I think about that hour ago. Yeah, I think about that.
It's baffling me.
I'll be shocked. I don't agree with it.
What could it be?
It might take a couple of weeks to think about it. I don't think there's any debate.
I know the answer.
Perfect cocktail. I kept thinking to myself,
bonkers. See, I should be infiltrating that one, like you infiltrate mine.
I didn't have any say.
I know you didn't, but I'm just saying. Anyway, right, this is the time in the show where we pose the most pressing questions to our very own Tony Cascarino. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with this one. If you didn't know, last week was... and I'm surprised it's not in everybody's diary, Nathan's hot dog eating contest, a national event in the States to see who can eat the most hot dogs in one sitting. On the sports bar, the winner and world number one, I didn't even know there's a ranking.
World number one hot dog eater.
Joey Chestnut tried to show Jason Cundy how to eat a hot dog competitively. This would be helpful if you were watching us live on YouTube and of course, smart TV. But yeah, this is how it all panned out.
Get the buns wet.
Get the bun wet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, Joey. That's a tough gig. He does that. Hold on. He does that in 10 minutes. He does 76 of them. No, Cundy's a bitch.
I mean, it looks revolting.
Oh, dipping the bun in water as well.
No, there's soggy bread.
Oh,
no, I'm not for that. Yeah, just to let you know, the world record set by Mr. Chestnut there, 76 hot dogs and buns, which were eaten in
that's ridiculous.
10 minutes.
Surely that is going to make you super ill. Surely.
Well, I imagine so, but, you know,
I mean, how do you fit them in your stomach? I mean, I know for the listeners they can't see the picture of the guy, but he looked quite just a normal average guy. Like, he's not a big man. Looks like he could have.
I don't know what he does. I don't know how you do that. I don't even know how you think I can do that.
Well, 76 is a really big number of eating anything.
Oh, goodness.
Even if you said nuggets, which are tiny, I think 76 nuggets would be a real...
Can I just tell you? Doesn't limit himself to just hot dogs.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's a 17-time Nathan's hot dog eating contest champion. But, oh, no, he's also a 9-time world rib eating champion.
World rib?
US chicken wing eating champion, 6 times. A 3-time wing bowl champion. And there's also a 2-time Crystal Square off world hamburger eating champion. Square off world hamburger. Oh, my gosh. So, you know, there's preparation that comes into all of this.
There's a lot. I mean, I did watch once. Have you ever seen the world chili eating?
No.
And that is
Why would
unbelievable.
I have seen that?
Well, they just basically they eliminate spicy chilies.
Yes, I have seen things like that. Yes,
and they are literally people are crying, and they can't. You know, obviously how hot a chili can be, and there's also chilies that are made to be hotter even than the ones that are natural. They're designed chilies, and I'm watching them and thinking, my God, that just looks like torture.
And well, do you know what I think with those? What goes in must come out, and that ain't pleasant. That's all I'm saying with that one. How many hot dogs do you think you could eat? Do you like a hot dog?
Yeah, but if you said to me, if I was going to push and go, I wouldn't get to 10. I'd probably 6. Honestly, even that feels painful.
No, I don't.
Can you imagine eating 76 of anything?
No, I can't.
And how did you become?
But that's what I'm saying. What makes you think? I can do that. I've got the gullet for that. No, it's not for me. I don't know why.
Oh, don't.
You know, let me enjoy my food in plenty of time.
Well, you're meant to. Also, you literally feel like the gannets that eat and they just swallow it.
Yes,
it feels like you're just swallowing lumps of food. You're not chewing it of any sort.
What's gross? And certainly, you could see Jason was not enjoying that at all. Looked like a hamster. Just full. All right, we're going to move on because, Cass, there's some explaining for you to do. For those that I'm sure heard in the week, you had a recent appearance on Breakfast where it all took an interesting turn when trying to spell one of our presenters' names.
Please spell the name of someone we know and love here at talkSPORT. Shaban Ahern.
Oh, Cass.
No. It's the Christian name and the surname, Cass.
Well, Ahern, I can pretty much do that. Shaban, I always Shabbern.
I think a couple of those letters were right, but only a couple.
Oh, it's not. Is it with an I?
No. Look, just go with Shaban again.
Shaban. Well, I always thought.
Yeah.
I always thought Shaban was Shanb. No, I'm gone.
Okay.
Jeff.
Right, Shaban. Shaban Ahern.
Well, it's Ohern, is it? Ohern as in Barry Hearn.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I lost the will to try and understand how you were trying to spell it's tricky.
No, I'd never looked at Shaban spelling of her name. And also, they cheated because it's the Scottish version of Shaban. Okay, so I got the I. Why I mentioned the I? Because Shaban in Irish, you write an I with an I. Okay, but I do know how to spell it now, so...
Well, you do know you have a running order sometimes with a name on it.
No, but I don't look at your name and think, Natalie...
How upsetting that you don't look at my name.
Well, I don't think I need to spell her Natalie.
Right, I'm going to give you a redemption story.
Go on.
Can you spell Gabby Agbonlahor?
Oh, no, I'm not even attempting. I can spell Gabby, of course. Agbonlahor.
Getting your
A-B.
A-B? You've missed out the G.
A-G-B, isn't it?
All right, Hugh Wozencroft, could you start with that?
No,
I'm
spelling's not my strength, but I can spell Shaban now because
spell Shaban.
It's S-H-E-B-A-H-N.
Very good.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah, so I've learned Shaban. And by the way, that's the Scottish version, as I said. And Shaban in Irish is written differently.
Okay.
Do you want to check the Irish version?
No, not really. Because
have you tried to spell Irish names?
Oh, believe me, I know. Look, we've got a Queven Kelleher. You know how you look at that, you think...
Well, Kelleher's not so hard, but...
No. All right. Crikey, couldn't you do a Hearn? Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Because Troy Deeney is out in America ahead of the Club World Cup final, and as Chelsea take on PSG, he's been speaking to some Chelsea fans who are pretty confident.
How will Chelsea win the game tomorrow?
Oh, man. We got to destroy the PSG midfield, man. I mean, we got to overrun it. I think Santos, Enzo, and Caicedo, they can do it.
Oh. The one Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
It's been actually quite interesting. He's done some quite funny little... sort of interviews and vox pops with fans out there, giving them like English footballing terms to see if they can understand what they mean, like put it in the mixer, for example, and they're just all there like, what does that mean? It's quite funny how some things just don't translate, obviously. Likewise, there'll be terms in American football that a lot of us might not get, for example. But anyway, is the midfield the area that Chelsea have to stop to get any success?
Well, they've got incredible energy in their midfield, yeah. So, but I like Chelsea's midfield. I like, I like Caicedo. I think he's come on bundle. I think Fernandes is another player that's now sort of looking like the £100 million player that they spent Chelsea on there. I mean, even if they're back up Lavia, if you put Cole Palmer in that position of a top of a three, but they have with Vitinha, Luiz and Neves, they are free, energetic midfielders.
Yeah.
So that is a real handful. So I think that's probably the most vital area, and I'm still not convinced. I still think Chelsea need a centre half.
You've said this for a while.
I just feel like they need a centre half that's absolutely going to be a part of a partnership, whether it's with Levi Colwill, whether it's going to be. Tosin, Fofana, but Fofana's been so injured so often.
But you hope he might come back.
But I think there's a lot of room there in Chelsea. I mean, I do think, and I did say to you a little while back, that I do think Chelsea are in the position of where Liverpool were, as in probably the third best team, but go into this season where Liverpool were last year.
Well, here's something perhaps as a positive for Chelsea coming into this, because many are suggesting it will be a PSG victory. Of their last international finals, if you like, so all their major finals that they've been in, barring the Super Cup, they've won them all.
Oh, have they?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Including most recently the Conference League.
Yeah.
Their last final defeat when it comes to let's say a European final of some sort, or in fact an international final, was in the old version of the Club World Cup.
Right.
When they lost to Corinthians in 2012. So there's an element of they just know how to get the job done when it matters, perhaps. But this is a PSG side that now know how to get the job done too.
We all recognise, we all know that PSG quite easily are the best team in Europe at the moment, and they could be the winners of the Club World Cup. But I think you'd find it hard across the planet to say that there's anybody better than PSG if they won tonight.
I know.
They are definitely the best team.
But a good measure of tonight, however it ends up,
but
testing Chelsea to see where
absolutely.
they're at.
If Chelsea make it a real game and look like they're a side that could cause them a lot of problems, and I'm looking forward to seeing Chelsea, because I do think they're a side now that you nearly can get close to their best 11. And the signing of Pedro was a big one.
Yeah.
And Delap, I don't think will start in the season, but I think he'll do a valid job when called upon.
Indeed. It is a night to have the talkSPORT app, the talkSPORT radio, everything, so you can keep across the Lionesses in Wales and also the Club World Cup final, because you won't miss anything with us, because we're bringing you both on the talkSPORT network. Here on talkSPORT, it's that Chelsea PSG game, and then England-Wales is on talkSPORT 2 as well. That is it for us this weekend, Cass.
Yeah.
We are back next weekend from 6. On the way next, it is the Sunday edition with Sean Custis and Henry Winter.